College football kickoff show right here on Pub Sports Radio, Saturday, October 16th. Ian Cameron, Conor Mac, Big Ragoo, DJ Big Boss in the house and ready to break down another Saturday in college football. Let's get right to it. Noon Eastern starts. All the early games, noon Eastern is where we start as always. Michigan State and Indiana to get us going here. Michigan State, 4-point road favorites, 48-48.5 being the total here in this game. Michigan State, what more can you say about the impressive job that they've done this season? It's been a great start to the year for Mel Tucker's team. They've got a terrific offense that has been outstanding, especially the run game led by Kenneth Walker, who's already got 900 rushing yards this year. So he's got a good chance to hit 1,000 rushing yards on the season today in this game, and it's only the middle of October. So he's been absolutely magnificent. Peyton Thorne's been solid at quarterback. Just this team overall has been very good this year. And Indiana, we talk about how Michigan State's been one of those Big Ten teams that's improved and impressed people. Indiana's definitely in the disappointment category. 2-3 on the year for this Hoosiers team. And they do come in off a bye week, and there is a quarterback change today for Indiana. No Michael Penix Jr. He is not at quarterback here today for the Hoosiers due to a shoulder injury. And you'll see Jack Tuttle instead at quarterback. To be honest with you guys, I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think I've seen Jack Tuttle play before. He's played well at times. And the way Penix had been struggling, is it really a huge downgrade to Tuttle? I don't think so. So very interested to see this total now at 48-48.5. I'm actually going to go against the move. I like the Michigan State offense. I think the Indiana offense could be – I don't think there's going to be a huge drop-off, to be quite honest with you. Tuttle. Tuttle's played before, and he's played solid in the past. I think they can move the ball enough. I like the over here, and I'm certainly going to ride the Spartans. We've talked about it. They're 5-1 against the spread this year. Their only non-cover was the overtime win at home against Nebraska. Other than that, this has been a team that, from a point spread standpoint, they've gotten the job done this year, and I think there's a good chance they get the win and cover. I know it's a situational edge for Indiana off the bye, but this line looks short for what's looked like the better team, in my opinion. So for me, it's Sparty. For me, it's over in this game. Connor, what do you like here? Michigan State, Indiana.
Yeah, I wanted to give a shout out to Dom and Jose for doing the video from yesterday.
Yes,
just real quick, appreciate it. I forgot to mention Jose. That was unreal. So I wanted to get that out. Yeah, perfect. Everything was great. And this one, I'm with you. This is Spartan. I lay it here. I know the 2 weeks off for Indiana, but this season seems like it's already just kind of going downhill. And I don't know. Yeah. And I don't know if Penix Jr. being out, and I've seen Tuttle play a few since last year, a couple of times. I don't know if that makes a difference. I mean, they're off that. It's Michigan State. They're just past the way they've looked, especially on the road. They've covered these numbers. That tough one, Nebraska, if you got hooked. But other than that, they've covered. So it's Michigan State for me, or get off the game.
That's an excellent point about their road play. I mean, double-digit road victories this year for Michigan State in all three road games, Northwestern, Miami, and Rutgers. So they have no problem traveling and getting the job done. Big Ragoo, what do you like?
Two of those road wins, conference, big conference road wins also. The Miami one, Miami's, I guess, I don't know what their story is this year, but they got problems. But Indiana, I think the whole offense early on is definitely geared around Penix, and they're making that change. So the only pause I have here, I love the total in this game. I love the over in this game. That's going to be a play on for me. The only pause I have here is, even though they are a cover machine, with that little bit of extra edge, I don't know how much preparation went in, whether the full practices have been with the backup coming in to get ready for this one. Maybe they made that change early. Maybe they made it late. I haven't scouted that out. But I'm definitely on the over here, and they've been a cover machine all the way around. This is not – I can say maybe a little bit of a surprise team in conference here, but they have definitely been winning and been winning by margin. So it's definitely in Michigan State or pass, or definitely on the over, though, for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, this is very impressive. Everything went wrong last year for the Spartans. Much different team this year, no doubt. Boss, what do you like?
I don't like nothing in this game. It's a pass for me, but just a note, Michigan State, we used to their defense, but they actually doing well on offense this year, which is a little odd. So we usually be on those Michigan State unders, and now everybody's on the over. And then Iowa State, both teams are flip-flop. Michigan State's doing good on offense and not on defense. and Iowa State's doing good on defense and not on offense. Those type of games this time of season can be really trappy. So I don't know. The total probably be the best play, but I don't know. I can't trust. Traditionally, I can't trust an over with Michigan State, but maybe this is the year. But I'm off.
Yeah, 3-3. They haven't been a huge over team, 3-3, but the last two, they've put up big points. 48-31 Western Kentucky, 31-13 over Rutgers. The Rutgers game stayed under because Rutgers didn't do anything. I think Indiana will do something today on offense with Tuttle, and that'll help the over here. All right, we got Ohio Buffalo next up. Buffalo 8-point home favorites, 56 the total. So I live about an hour and a half away from Buffalo, across the Ontario and Canada, West New York State border. And I can tell you, it's a miserable day here, rain, wind. And from what I'm seeing in the Buffalo forecast, same thing. So be careful with that. Makes me think under in this game, especially with Ohio. I mean, Ohio's offense is nothing that's overly explosive, been overly impressive this year. It's been a rough season. Frank Solich doing the thing that most coaches do, and they've been around for a while. They're about to retire, and they see the team's going to be a piece of shit. They just bail, and I think that's exactly what Frank Solich did with this team. He knew the writing was on the wall. We weren't going to be very good this year. 1-5 straight up, 2-4 against the spread. Good effort last week. They have covered 2 in a row. Let's give them that, though. They beat Akron, and they cover in a defeat against Central Michigan last week. And the offense has picked it up. But going against this Buffalo team, I think they're going to struggle. Buffalo, to me, defensively, they've had a couple games where they've given up points, but they shut down Western Michigan, which was impressive. And I think they'll bounce back here. Kent State, when they get it going, they're an electric offense. So I know they put up 48 against Buffalo last week. I think Buffalo will play better defensively here. I don't know if I want to lay 8, but with the weather being what it is, with me not trusting Ohio's offense, and to be honest with you, Buffalo's offense, if they can't run the football, sometimes that offense struggles. The good news for them, they should be able to run it against Ohio. We're talking about an Ohio team giving up 229 rushing yards per game. So I do lean home favorite here and the under. What do you think here, Connor?
Shout out to the chat. Shout out to iHeavy08 for the $9.99 dono. We appreciate it, my man. Another day, another dollar.
Woo, thank you, iHeavy.
I'm with you. This is ugly. This is a straight pass. I don't want to lay 8 with Buffalo. I haven't been able to figure out Buffalo all year long, and I don't want to lay more than a touchdown right now. With Ohio, who's played a little bit better lately, you talked about the weather. Just an ugly one. Pass.
Yeah, no doubt. It does feel like an ugly one. By the way, Buffalo, if you're wondering, the Bulls, I believe, are undefeated ATS at home this year. Yes, they are. They pushed actually against Western Michigan, but they covered against Coastal. They won and covered against Wagner. So they do have a good home field there, and I don't think, like I say, they should be able to run. When they run, they win and they cover. They should be able to run. Ohio's just dreadful with their run defense. Big Ragoo, what do you think?
You probably see a lot of running in this game too, I believe. The good thing, like you said, at home, it's not that they're a different team, but they're a better team at home for sure. And they seem to score a few more points while playing at home also. So maybe a look to the team total on Buffalo side, whatever that might be. And I know the lines kind of moved down against them. So if you're going, the market's kind of indicated. I don't think there's big support for Ohio, but it's definitely ticked down a little bit. So, and I'm not I would never lay more than 8 in this spot here. If it gets below a touchdown, maybe, which I doubt it will. But the only look I would have, maybe team total over Buffalo.
Yeah, I think it can get there. I mean, I think Buffalo could get 31 to 35 points, and then you get like a 31-17, 35-17 kind of score, and the game still stays under. So that's kind of what I'm thinking here in this game. What do you like, boss?
Man, this Ohio team is bad, man. This is I'm just spotting these teams out this week. They're upside down. They're only scoring 19 points a game. They're allowing 31 points or something like that a game. That's too far upside down. No way you could back a team like that at this time of the season. So only way to go in this one is Buffalo or pass.
We must have people that watch this show moving the numbers because the total's going down just right now as I see it right now. I see the total going from 55.5 down to 55 right now. So there must be people listening to what we're saying, which is a good thing. And speaking of people listening to what we're saying, 120 live viewers in the chat. Hit the like button. Make sure you do that before the show wraps up. Tulsa, South Florida. We've got Tulsa 8-point road favorites, 55.5 the total in this game. Tulsa's definitely had a tough year. I mean, very disappointing for Philip Montgomery's team. For them to be just 2-4 on the year is not where they wanted to be. The defense is not at all where it was last year. That's been the biggest problem. I mean, we've seen them the last 4 games. Ohio State, you can forgive them for giving up 41, but they give up 34 to Arkansas State, 45 points to Houston. They do win and cover against Memphis, but they had to hang on last week. And really, they won because of their offense, which came alive. Davis Brin at quarterback has been up and down and erratic this year, but he's gotten better the last couple of games. And really for Tulsa, it's about running the football. Can Shamari Brooks on the ground get going? He should be able to here against USF. I mean, South Florida, my goodness, 218 rush yards per game allowed, 6.1 per carry allowed on the ground. Just they aren't stopping the run. And when Tulsa's got that balance in their offense, it helps out Davis Brin. He doesn't have to do as much. On the flip side for South Florida, you look at their recent results. They played BYU. They put 27 on the board. Against SMU, they get blown out in that last game, 41-17. It is a South Florida team that has the bye in their favor, which might explain why there has been some South Florida money. It's going to give also time for Timmy McClain, who's become the starting quarterback, to maybe get more comfortable in this offense. I think he will. And with Tulsa's defense struggling, a little more time to prepare for this game off the bye, rather than either side. I like the over here in this game at 55.5, 56. Both teams, by the way, above average in tempo. Tulsa plays above average in pace. So does South Florida. So I think we can get over 55.5 here, Tulsa, South Florida. Conor Mac, anything you like here?
Yeah, I lean over here, the 55.5. Tulsa's been disappointing. I think South Florida, they're coming off the bye like you talked about, and they played a little bit better. That got my ass bit yesterday with North Texas. They've been playing better and covering. And they didn't against SMU, but Brigham Young, BYU, they covered. Against Florida, they lost 42-20. So I'm off this game. This is scary to me. I don't want to lay more in the touchdown right now with Tulsa. South Florida, they could be there today. I'm going to pass, but I'd lean with them.
All right, good stuff, Big Ragoo.
I like Tulsa when they're playing like up in class a little bit. I mean, now they're kind of stepping down a little bit per se, with the way USF, has been playing of late. But I don't know, you're probably right on that lean to the over spot there. But I tried to jump on this both ways with the total and the side, and I couldn't find any value for me personally in any of the lines. So it's a pass.
And it's gone down too.
Yes.
I mean, you could have got this 9. We're seeing 7.5 now.
Absolutely. Big Boss, what do you like?
Nowhere to go but over in this game right here. They bleeding almost 900 yards between the two defenses. So I expect to see some scoring. We've seen in the past that even though as bad as South Florida is, they have been able to put up points. So they'll be able to put up a little points. Tulsa will come around and do their thing as well. So nowhere to go but over on that one.
Yeah, this is back-to-back games. We've talked about offenses that need to run the football to have success. Buffalo and Tulsa, and I think both of them should be able to have success running the football because the opponents they're playing have not stopped the run at all this year. Nebraska, Minnesota. We've got Nebraska 4.5-point road favorites, 48.5 the total in this game. I worry about this. I'm actually surprised the number's gone up this much toward Nebraska. Look, statistically, they are the better of these two teams. There's no question with how they've performed week to week, no question. They probably deserve to be slight favorites, but we're talking 4.5 now as favorites on the road. And you do have a Minnesota team that, although they've underwhelmed, although their offense has struggled, I've said this on the show, I believe on Monday with Connor earlier this week, that Minnesota might be one of those teams that because they had that bad, egregious, hideous loss to Bowling Green, we remember that, right? 31-point favorites, they lost outright, that the betting markets and the odds makers are going to have this team devalued coming out of that Bowling Green game. And you watch now and maybe watch this Minnesota team go on a point spread run. When you suffer one of those terrible losses, inexplicable, unacceptable, embarrassing losses, there's oftentimes point spread value to bet that team right after a loss like that. And you saw Minnesota after the Bowling Green loss win against Purdue on the road, 20-13. They covered as well. It wouldn't shock me to see them cover here. And they have a bye week as well, fresh, rested. And for Nebraska, they've been go, 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 go. This is now going to be their eighth straight football game without a bye. So the wear and tear is piling up. They're coming off an exhausting, emotional, physical, tough game, hard-fought, grueling, tough loss against Michigan last Saturday night at home. From a situational standpoint, it's a dream spot for Minnesota. And even though I think Nebraska's better right now, current form-wise, I'd say definitely that's the case. I think Minnesota with the bye week, getting the points at home is the way I'm going in this game. So I like Minnesota plus 4.5. What do you think here, C-Mac?
Yeah, give me the dog at home here in Minnesota. There's one thing, Nebraska's played a lot better lately, but I don't like them laying points. I like that, yeah, they've had to bye 2 weeks to prepare here in Minnesota. I think Morgan can make just enough plays. It hasn't been pretty. I think this could be low scoring. I mean, they beat Purdue before the bye, 2013. You talked about losing to Bowling Green. Because I thought the offense looked pretty good. I mean, all right, when they opened up against Ohio State. And then you beat Colorado 30-0. I just think it's too many. I think it's a field goal game or Minnesota just wins it outright. Put a little money on the money line. I think they win it here.
Yeah, I do believe that this game could be low scoring too, because Nebraska has been actually good against the run. The numbers against the run for Nebraska are quite solid. So Minnesota, another one of those teams, when they can't run the football, they struggle a bit. But at the same point in time, I do like the way Minnesota's defense is playing. And Minnesota is giving up just 77 rush yards per game this year, 2.8 yards per carry. And I feel the same way about Nebraska in this game. I don't think they're going to run the football all that successfully. So it feels like both teams' offensive strength is going to get taken away, and I could see this being under, and I think that will also allow Minnesota to hang around and possibly steal the win. What do you think here, Big Ragoo?
I think both of you guys hit the nail on the head with this spot. Minnesota, Minnesota's run defense is pretty decent, and Nebraska struggles on the road to get going early too. So I would look to maybe a first half under, and definitely take Minnesota plus. I think the wrong team's favorite in this particular spot. And I like Minnesota on the money line sprinkle too. So this will be a triple up spot. Minnesota first half, Minnesota full game, sprinkle, Minnesota.
There you go. All right. So some unders, some Minnesota. Boss, what do you like here?
I'm feeling I really don't like that Minnesota team. So but on paper it looks like Minnesota has an edge right here. But this Scott Frost and this Nebraska team, man, we talk about they trying to save jobs around here. So, they are 0-3 on the road. The sun got to shine on the dog's ass someday. So I believe they break that road thing today. And I think Nebraska walks away with the win.
Yeah, and of course, I always say in NFL, and I say that in college too, don't overreact to running back injuries. Of course, we know Ibrahim got injured in the opener against Ohio State, and Trey Potts, who stepped in, is now dealing with an upper body injury, and there's a good chance he's not in today, which means we're down to Marquise Irving, freshman at running back for Minnesota. But oftentimes, Minnesota is one of those teams where it's plug and play with the running back. Usually the O-line is good in terms of run blocking. They scheme to the run on offense to have success that way. And that's why you can bring in a third string running back possibly in this game and not see a huge drop off, because there wasn't that drop off going from Ibrahim to Potts, and now Potts is injured. There still may not be that drop off, you think, at the running back spot if he can't go today. All right, next up, we've got Central Florida, Cincinnati. This is on ABC, I believe. So big spotlight for the Bearcats here. 21.5-point home favorites for Cincy's, 56 the total. I haven't bet it yet, but I am leaning hard, let's say. I don't know if I'll bet it, but I do lean hard here toward Cincinnati minus 12.5, minus 13 in the first half, and then maybe the full game and split it up. Because, look, this is ABC. Style points matter. Style points matter, believe it or not. I think there is going to be a greater chance Cincinnati's kept out of the playoff with an undefeated season if they barely beat a few teams. I think if they can run it up and get 4 touchdown victories, especially against this team, which, let's be honest, this is the best team remaining on Cincinnati's schedule here in the regular season. They're going to take advantage. I cashed a ticket, one of my best bets last week against Central Florida with East Carolina in that game, and East Carolina got the cover there in that one. Mikey Keene is not polished at the quarterback spot. He's just a freshman. No. And now you got to go on the road here and take on this Cincinnati loaded for bear, no pun intended, defense here, which has a ball hawking secondary, which can collapse the pocket up front as well. This is going to be a baptism by fire potentially for that young freshman quarterback here with UCF today. And the defense actually played pretty well, I thought, against ECU last week, but still a defense that 1 week they're up, 1 week they're down. just feels like a spot. And look, what Cincinnati, that's about as impressive as it gets last week. I know they only played Temple, but given the spot and the situation, the biggest win in the program's history, maybe against Notre Dame, to come back last week, no letdown at all, and just put the boots to Temple, who had been playing pretty good going into that game. That says a lot about where Cincinnati's at right now. They're focused. They want to make a statement. I want no part of UCF here. Conor Mac, what do you think?
Yeah, this is always Cincinnati's trouble every year. UCF, they've always had. So I think they have this circled. I like the first half as well. I mean, it's gone up here to 13, but I think they need style points. They need big wins, especially in a game like this because the rest of their schedule is pretty weak, like you talked about. So, yeah, I took Cincy first half here.
All right, Big Ragoo.
I wonder what the look-ahead line on this game was early in the season.
Wasn't 21, I can tell you that. I think it was more around the lines of like 7 or 8.
No doubt. I mean,
touchdown.
I'm not going to say they were going to walk into a trap, Cincinnati here, but they seem like for the big games, they're on the national spotlight, like you say. And I'm still surprised, with the quarterback situation down there with Malzahn has got his Auburn recruit on the bench, but I guess he's pot committed with this kid, the freshman, to try to get things going down there with him. But I think it's a lot of points, to be honest with you. And I know UCF still has athletes on that team, whether they can execute on the offensive side of the ball. Because I know Ritter's a nice quarterback, and UCF, they can play a little bit of defense too. So I'm going to lean UCF in this spot, even though as bad as the freshman quarterback. I say bad. He's not a bad quarterback. He's inconsistent. He's still got a long way to go. But I don't think UCF. Cincinnati gets the job done by margin here. I don't think it's going to get real ugly in a bounce house. I think if it gets ugly, it's going to get ugly late. So I would probably lean UCF in the first half taking the points.
Yeah. By the way, Cincinnati was a 3.5-point underdog 2 years ago in this matchup, and last year they were laying 4 at the bounce house in Central Florida. Last year, Cincinnati was -4 in that.
Listen, if what they score 20 against East Carolina. I mean, this Cincinnati defense for real. So I don't know where points are going to come from.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for the Keen in this game. There's no question about that. To navigate this defense on the road too. Nippert Stadium, like they're tailgating already. I've seen pictures on Twitter. They're tailgating already at like 9 a.m. 3 hours before this game. I mean, they know what this is. This is ABC. This is the best opponent we have left. We got to make a statement. So we'll see. UCF's defense has got to, if they're going to have any chance of hanging around, defense has to show up today for UCF.
I said bounce house. I'm sorry. It's in Cincinnati. My bad.
Yeah, it's at Nippert Stadium. Yeah, in Cincy today. Boss, what do you like?
No way I'm taking the freshman against this defense, man. They could cause some problems for that guy. But I would take Cincinnati as well. I'm not taking them, but I would take Cincinnati as well because this is going to be the storyline, man. On conspiracy theory side, this is going to be the big push for the 12-team playoffs. Why the conferences, the team like Cincinnati is a prime example of, why we need these new things that they're trying to implement. So the storyline sits behind Cincinnati. They've showed you last week that, they pretty strong all the way around. No letdown spot or nothing. But Gus Malzahn, he coached well against some big schools, but came away a little bit short. I think, it's just that time of year. He's probably tired, got some players injured. He's going to do the best he can do. But this Cincinnati team is just a little too tuned up for him. So I lean Cincinnati.
All right. Next up, we've got Rutgers Northwestern. Rutgers 2.5-point road favorites, 45 the total. Early start here in the Big Ten. Rutgers has definitely had their season upended a little bit. Nice start, but things have gotten tougher. Schedule has gotten tougher. And they have not been able to meet the challenge, although they hung tough with Michigan covered, but last 2 weeks it's been rough. I mean, outscored 83-26 back-to-back games, Ohio State and Michigan State. Two very good teams, obviously, though. And this, to me, is a step down in class. I like Rutgers a little bit here, laying less than a field goal on the road. The only thing that's keeping this from being a bigger bet, it's only a small one for me, is Northwestern off a bye. And it's a quality head coach and Pat Fitzgerald off a bye. The only problem for Pat Fitzgerald is I don't think this team's very good at all this year. It's just not good at all. The only good performance was against a hideous Ohio team. And they had a win against Indiana State in the FCS ranks. When they played FBS competition, good FBS competition, Power 5 competition, The results have been a 38-21 loss to Michigan State, 30-23 loss to Duke, and a 56-7 beatdown at the hands of Nebraska. The offense is in shambles. They can't run the football consistently. They miss Isaiah Bowser. Ryan Helinski has been marginally better than Hunter Johnson, but that's not saying a lot, and he's still completing less than 60% of his passes since becoming the quarterback for Northwestern. On the flip side, you look at Rutgers. Offense has, not exactly been lighting it up lately, but I think being able to run the football, which they should here. Here's another team with an awful run defense this year, Northwestern, giving up 237 per game on the ground, 6.1 yards per clip. Rushing the football, not good. Rutgers should be able to get the run game going with Pacheco, take pressure off the draw of the quarterback, and I think they find a way to a win here. Less than a field goal. I'll take Rutgers here. Small bet. Conor Mac, Rutgers, Northwestern.
Yeah, I lean Rutgers. I mean, you don't want to take them after the last couple of weeks, but, playing good teams there. This is Northwestern, though. Usually they get better under Pat Fitzgerald, like you talked about. I think this team isn't very good. They're not very talented. It's just a lean for me. It's already moved. It's still under 3 at 2.5. It's Rutgers or pass, but it's a pass.
Big Ragoo.
I don't think it's a tough spot for Rutgers, but I'm kind of scratching my head, even though we know they have the better maybe the better ATS number, I want to say, with Rutgers, and Northwestern has been burning cash, but 2.5 on the road coming into Northwestern to play that game. It's going to be a tight game either way, I think. So I can't find value, but I would lean the home team in this spot just because
there was more points. I'd be on Northwestern if I had more points. I'd be all over Northwestern.
I mean, it's a short number, so that's the key issue. That's what we're up against either way, no matter what you look at it. So it's a pass for me, but I would lean Northwestern, maybe squeak the win out at home, possibly.
The way I see it is that if Rutgers loses today and Northwestern wins and dare I say it, looks good, I don't think they will, but if they do, that might be a buy sign for Northwestern the rest of the season. That maybe, hey, Pat Fitzgerald's rallied the troops. They've had a tough year coming out of the bye, and maybe they go on a little bit of a point spread run. I mean, I don't know about straight up because they're going to have a tough time winning games, but you're going to get good points when they play teams down the stretch. So this could be, if they win today, buy sign for Northwestern a little bit the rest of the way.
One quick note, Ian. I mean, I know they opened up against Michigan State as a 3-point favorite. They lost that game, and then they took on Indiana State, which was no big deal there. But the 3 games they had at home, they did score points in those games. Yep. 21, 24, and 35. Even though the two last wins were against inferior opponents. We'll see what happens here, man. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, definitely. Boss, what do you like here?
Well, traditionally Northwestern's always been a streaky team. They're good for an upset and some more stuff, but this year they just haven't been getting the job done. And like I said, on this week, there's no way I'm going to put my money on teams that are upside down. They're giving up about 27 points and scoring about 22 points a game. Just doesn't make any sense this far in the season. So no way to go but Rutgers. But I haven't been on the Rutgers train. I haven't even seen them play, as a matter of fact. So it's nothing I could lay. But I'm definitely looking for these upside down teams to go ahead and start trending down.
Yeah, definitely. I hear what you're saying there. It's tough to step in front of these struggling teams, or back these struggling teams, I should say. All right, next up, we've got Texas A&M and Missouri. Texas A&M 11.5-point road favorites, 59.5 the total. The line's gone up, which means nobody's buying into the letdown or the hangover theory here for the Aggies after just the win of the year for them, maybe of the year in college football, with Texas A&M beating Alabama last week. And all I can say is, where did that come from for Zach Calzada and the Texas A&M passing game last week? Because this guy could barely complete a forward pass, seriously, against Mississippi State, and then before that against Arkansas, which was all up in his grill essentially. And there he is, just chucking the ball down the field, lighting up Alabama's secondary last week. And he had to, because the run game with Isaiah Spiller didn't do a whole lot for A&M in that game. But Calzada in the passing game got it done. I think they get back to a balanced attack here. All you got to do, if you want to run the football against Missouri, all you got to do is hand it off. You'll get like a 20-yard gain every time. That's how bad. I mean, this is an embarrassingly bad Missouri defense coming into this game. They're averaging 38 points per game allowed. They are giving up, like almost over 400 total yards of offense per game. We've seen them get absolutely carved up. And with Calzada now having some confidence after the win against Alabama, he should light up this team. Through the air, they should be able to run the football with Spiller, no problem. They can run it, they can throw it. Missouri hasn't stopped either. They think they run up the score if they're focused. If they're not flat and they can go on the road here and focused and perform at their highest level, Texas A&M should be able to put up points in bunches and get 30-40 like every other team has against Missouri this year. On the flip side here, Missouri's still got an offense that can be capable. Bazelak at quarterback. They got some weapons. The O-line is solid enough. And A&M's defense is not going to be easy at all for Missouri to move the ball. But if there's one area where I think the A&M team could be a little bit, just off kilter, it could be on defense, coming off that win. If they're a little bit lackluster or if they're a little bit sleepy, especially early in the game. So I think this game's an over, to be honest, at 59.5. Missouri's 5-1 to the over this year, and every single Missouri game has gotten to at least 58 points. And the only game that was below this total was Central Michigan. Every Missouri game against a Power 5 team and every game they've played so far against an SEC team has gone over the 59 points, which is where this total is. So I like the over, and I'm kind of with the betting markets here. I'm not buying in fully to A&M just being completely flat after the win to Alabama because of the fact that Missouri's defense is just so bad. They can probably just do whatever they want and still run their way to a bunch of points because Missouri hasn't stopped anybody this year. So I lean A&M, but I like the over more than anything. Conor Mac, what do you like here?
Yeah, it keeps going up with A&M, the points, because Missouri hasn't covered a game in frickin' 2 years. They've lost, nine? Yeah, 9 straight against the spread. Horrible defense. I'm not on the side, but I'm with you. I think there's points in this game. I think get over.
All right, Big Ragoo.
We're not going to say that the Missouri game was an aberration because they're not going to play Alabama every week. But at the same time, they are taking a show on the road here, and Missouri's awful, like you said. All overs, you rip up all your tickets every time you went to the window with them. It's definitely A&M or pass, but maybe look to a first half A&M, maybe look to a first half team total or something like that. But long term, there are going to be points, but I just I don't see the kink in A&M's defense here because Missouri's just dreadful. But they do score points, but. They played Tennessee. They lost 24-62. North Texas, they finally got the W there, but that was a no cover, 18.5-point favorite. So I'm thinking A&M or pass one way there. I'm not going to get to the window either way because I'm really leery about coming off of big games like that. Even though the betting market indicates that, it's a pass for me.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm wondering how the hell they gave up 35 to North Texas after what I saw from North Texas last night against Marshall. So
there's no show.
I bet against Marshall. They cost me money all year, and guess what? They cost me money again last night. Very small though, a half unit, but I was on Marshall.
Me too.
And I'm off.
Unfucking believable.
Yeah, it's an awful performance.
That was a revenge bet for me, but they got the best of me.
Yeah.
Sickening.
Fucking bastards.
Yeah, I agree. Fucking bastards. I agree because we all had a piece of North Texas there. Thank goodness I had the over 2 in that game for a split, but still, North Texas, terrible. Defense, offense, both ways. It was ugly for them. Boss, what do you like here, A&M, Missouri?
Man, I think this is one of those spots where you caught the bookie doing something in the back he ain't supposed to be doing right here. Same like they did in the Clemson game. They threw those points in there like just because they got some time off, they supposed to be back this much better. People keep riding the Clemson trains. They set that bait out there and ate their ass up. But most of the sharp guys were like, it was an easy call. It almost seemed too easy to take the points with Syracuse. And in this game, we got the same thing right here. Win of the book considered they're giving Texas A&M the benefit of the doubt because it's a hangover spot after beating Alabama. They don't play like that. That makes no sense right there. But I think where the biggest illusion is with this one, and it was probably a forced play for the book because of where they set the line, is the total. And I think the total should go way under in this one, because before Texas A&M played Alabama, they was an under team. They like 2-4 to the under. Nothing's gonna change. If you are in a hangover spot, the smartest thing to do is slow it down. Let's get out of here with the win. That's all we want. We don't want to do nothing extra. We're not trying to show off for the cameras or nothing. We're trying to stay healthy and make it to the next game. So I think Texas A&M slows it all the way down. I think the trick with Alabama was Jimbo Fisher. Now we got coaches that's getting ate up by coaches that they coached before, which makes no crazy sense. But we talked about Jimbo Fisher every week, and we were saying, where's the offense that he had at Florida State? Where's that? And then he comes against Alabama, held it back all that time and unleashed everything. He got the Calzone dude looking like he's a hero, and he was a zero. So, it's a tricky game right now. They're trying to get you right here. I think the safest spot is they put that total up that high. Let's say Texas A&M go back to doing what they do best, playing good defense against a crappy team, win just enough to get the win and go home.
Yeah, that could be possible. Maybe Missouri just stuck in mud offensively. Like, you could get something like 38-7 or 38-10. Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, Missouri's got to probably score for this to get over.
Yeah, of course.
But definitely. Missouri can't stop anybody. So, I mean, I think they're definitely giving up, almost 50.
It's going to be what Missouri gets. If you like the under, you're basing it on what Missouri
it'll be no reason for Texas A&M to go back to the high flying throw-in game that they did against Alabama. They're going to go back to that pro set slow offense that they've been running all year. So the under is just sitting there for the taking.
So you think they're going to put the game on the defense's back to win it?
Absolutely. Why wouldn't you against a team like Missouri? Like, Missouri's in a down year.
Brother.
They bleeding on the defensive
It'll
side.
It'll be interesting. Yeah, it's a clash of unders for A&M, and they were going under before the Alabama game, and overs for Missouri. So, something's got to give. If it was in A&M, I'd agree more on the under. But with this being in Missouri, I could see A&M sleepy on defense. So we'll see. It's an interesting spot there. Oklahoma State, Texas. We've got Texas 3.5-point home favorites, 60.5, 61 the total in this one. I bet Texas when it was a 4.5 early in the week. It's gone down to 3.5. I figured that would be the move. You got Mike. It's just a plum spot for Oklahoma State. They're off a bye week. They're rested. They're fresh. They've been amazing as dogs. 17-4, 17-4 against the spread. Last 21 as underdogs under Mike Gundy. Definitely a team that's been good in this role. And for Texas, how do you bounce back after a brutal loss? You collapsed. You gave it up. You spit the bit last week against Oklahoma. You had a nice, comfortable lead. You let it get away in the second half. You lose 55-48. Terrible loss for them just because, they played so well for so long. Casey Thompson, great on offense. The defense was not good, but the offense was. And they just couldn't stop Caleb Williams, and it ends up being their demise. Bijan Robinson, of course, such a big catalyst for this Texas offense. But guess what? This is going to fall a lot on Casey Thompson's shoulders. Oklahoma State's run defense, magnificent. 91 rushing yards allowed, 2.8 yards per carry. So, when you're playing an electric running back like Robinson, you got to have the defense to contain him. I think Oklahoma State does. Oklahoma State statistically has the much better defense compared to Texas. They're giving up 140 yards per game less. They're giving up almost 2 yards per play less, Oklahoma State's defense compared to Texas here. And yeah, I know Oklahoma State's got a shaky offense at times. I get it. With their offense can be a little bit rough. The O-line's had issues all year. Spencer Sanders is a pedestrian quarterback. That's what he is. But the defense for Oklahoma State has gotten them there most weeks, and I think they've got a chance to go into Texas, win this game. Longhorns, you talk about bouncing back and rallying the troops. Sark's going to have to work overtime to do that after that crushing loss last week. So I think Okie State, as long as you stay above a field goal here, 3.5, I think that's the way to go. Conor Mac, Oklahoma State, Texas.
Yeah, Texas just blew it last week. That defense isn't very good, so I got to take the team with the better defense, catching points. I mean, I think there's too much value. Like you talked about, at 3 in the hook. I think they put up 30 on Texas. I'll take Oklahoma State money line. They got a way better defense than Texas. They win.
Yeah, and I thought these two teams were right around neck and neck. And I said also before the season on our previews that Connor and I did, I still remember them back in the summer, that I thought Oklahoma State could actually be a little bit better than Texas in this conference. So here's their chance to prove me right. Big Ragoo, what do you think?
Oklahoma State D is a real deal for sure in that conference. But, I mean, that's going to be the main clash in this game. That's the setup for the game is Oak State's D. Can they slow down Texas's offense? And if they do, then they walk away with the W without question. But they they covered, and the hangover effect, like you said, with Texas is going. It's a tough ass to come off a game like that. You left your heart on the field that one, and to get ready to come up against a quality opponent nonetheless in this game here. So I think we'll see. I think we'll see a solid first half of defense from Oak State, and I think maybe look to take Oak State in the first half, maybe money line.
All right, first half look specifically for Big Ragoo. Boss, what do you like?
Man, this is a traditional spot for me to go straight for the over in these Texas games. But Oklahoma, Texas, they right by each other. They beef all the time, and it usually goes over. But in this one, I think Oklahoma State's defense is real, and they probably could slow this Texas team down. And this Texas team, after last week, may be playing a couple steps back. Plus, both teams got a lot of players a little banged up. So I'm expecting things to slow down and make some sense. So I like the under in this spot.
All right, liking the under. We move on to Florida, LSU. Florida, 12-point road favorites, 59.5, 60.5 the total in this one. I like two plays in this game. I like the road favorite, and I don't like laying double digits on that road, especially in a conference like the SEC very often. But this LSU team is just falling apart. Defense is just not there. And not only that, but LSU, the injuries on defense are mounting at an alarming rate. They're down multiple secondary players. They're down their best pass rusher got hurt last week. He's going to be out for LSU. I mean, it's getting really bad for them on the defensive side of the football in terms of injuries for this LSU team. Derek Stingley, of course, foot injury. Ali Gay is the guy, the best pass rusher. He's going to be out due to injury as well. And it's a defense that gets worse, not better, with each passing week. You see what they've given up this year. The UCLA game stands out, 38. Last week, 42 points allowed on the road in that 42-21 loss to Kentucky. This LSU defense just not very good. And Florida's going to, I think, really bring some purpose here because they had their playoff chances. They actually still had a shot at the playoff last year, and it was derailed by LSU when they went to the Swamp, went to Gainesville as 24-point dogs and beat Florida 37-34 last year. It was a shocking performance from Florida because of how bad LSU was for much of last year, and they ended up winning. So I think Florida's out for blood today. You talk about all the injuries for LSU. I think Florida can win this one. I know it's in the Bayou, but this is not a night game at LSU. This is an early start, and it's not the same atmosphere when they're playing in a noon Eastern kickoff here in the Bayou here in Baton Rouge. So I think Florida gets it done here. I know on the road they haven't played anyone yet in terms of quality other than Kentucky, and they lost that game. But to be honest with you, they only lost to Kentucky by 7. They did outgain Kentucky on a yards per play basis, whereas LSU's at being outgained by 2.1 yards per play to Kentucky. So obviously Florida was a lot more impressive against Kentucky than LSU was. So I think it gets ugly. I think they can win by 2 touchdowns. So Florida -12. And I like the over. I agree with the move going up. LSU's run defense is terrible. Florida, that's their main way of moving the football is running it. Dan Mullen wants to run it, and boy, he should be able to here against an LSU team allowing 156 rushing yards per game. Last 3 games, LSU's defense has gotten worse against the run. 202 on the ground, 6.1 yards per carry allowed. That is just music to the ears of this Florida offense and Mullen because they're going to run it a lot, and they should have success. So give me Florida, give me over the total. Conor Mac, Florida, LSU.
Yeah, I just don't want to lay it with this many points with Florida on the road. I know LSU is not very good. They're looking for revenge. Yeah, all that running, though. I know the clock stops, but Florida, 5-1 to the under this year. So at 60, it might stay under that total.
They must think LSU's defense is really bad because you're right. This was 57.5, 60.5 now, and it's still climbing. So it's people thinking that, LSU's defense. And look, Max Johnson's still a capable quarterback. The offense is still capable for LSU, so maybe they can contribute as well. Big Ragoo.
Yeah, LSU's in a spiral mode downward. At Florida, unless Georgia falls apart, they don't have any shot getting to the SEC game, especially with the loss to Kentucky. But they're more focused going forward for a bigger bowl game down the road. Maybe a New Year's Day type bowl. They're going to stay focused for that. But they got to take care of business here first, and that's part of the process. So I think I agree with you. Their injuries are mounting up on the LSU side, even though they've been pretty good at home. Keeping points off the board for opponents. But we're talking McNeese and Central Michigan and Auburn. It was a low scoring game with the Auburn game to the under there. But Florida's a different offense. And I think they take a little pressure off Emory Jones here, and they stretch the field, which is going to create big plays downfield for Florida. So I like Florida in this spot here, not to win by big margin, but to get to double digits here and maybe win by 2 touchdowns at least.
All right, good stuff. Boss, what do you like?
I like the Florida look as well. I've talked about LSU week after week, and I was listening to some stuff earlier this week. Like half of the alumni is saying, hurry up and get rid of this guy so we can get somebody else, and half the alumni say, hey man, he's one of us. He's from here. Let's ride it out with him. So I think this is a setup for the LSU fans right here, thinking that they're receiving some points. Like Ian said, that was a good word you used. The offense is capable, but they ain't been doing nothing. They keep using safe words on the offense. The quarterback, he's not that good. Like as much as they want to tout him to be, something he's not. He's not there yet. So I'm definitely on the side of Orgeron getting up out of here. So I think Florida's a little underestimated. Only thing that worries me about laying them double digits is that Florida's been getting it done at unders. They don't have to score a lot to beat you. So, but in this spot right here, it probably look good on their record if they run it up a little bit. So I'll take Florida plus the points. Minus the points. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Florida laying the points. Absolutely. All right. Next up, we've got Auburn and Arkansas here. We've got Arkansas 4.5 point favorites in this game. 54 the total in this one. I'm laying it with Arkansas. I'm not jumping off the Razorback train after the last couple games. They had a tough one against Ole Miss, back and forth shootout last week, and then of course they lose to Georgia. Before that, no shame in that at all. This is their step down in class here against Auburn. It's not like Auburn's terrible, but it is a step down in class compared to Ole Miss and Georgia the last 2 weeks. Auburn losing 34-10 to Georgia, barely beat a struggling LSU team 24-19, barely beat Georgia State by 10, lose to Penn State. Really, the only really good team they played this year was Penn State, and that was on the road. They lost. They didn't cover. Razorbacks, it's a bounce-back day for them. I think KJ Jefferson bounces back. I think the offense plays a lot better here today. They run the football with a good amount of success in this game. I still like the run game, and I still like the stable of running backs they have here at Sam Pittman's disposal. When you're talking Raheem Sanders, Traylon Smith, and company, can run the football. Get back to that today. When you look at the Auburn defense, I think that's a defense that you can have success doing that against. And of course, KJ Jefferson, a chance for him to get the passing game going. And we're talking about Arkansas's defense, struggling the last 2 weeks, but we know it's Auburn offense, and on the road, Bo Nix, what he can do against a good defense is often not much. So I think that's probably something you see today. So I like Arkansas, bounce back spot. Conor Mac, what do you like, Auburn, Arkansas?
Yeah, I lean Arkansas. Something just kept me off from betting this, though, now at 4.5. I liked them all year. Just tricky. I lean under, too. I think Auburn still has a decent defense. I think this game can stay under the 54.
All right, Big Ragoo.
What do you think Harsin's going to do for scheming against this Arkansas? We know what the Lane train did against them. They both put up a ton of points. I mean, they scored 105 points last week. It was crazy, like up and down, up and down, up and down. Auburn's not a bad football team. We know that. I mean, step down in class, you could say possibility compared to the others, but I would say even keel here. Tricky number, like Connor says, 4.5. 3 is a key number, 4 is the next key number. Then you get the hook involved there. So you basically need a touchdown So are they a touchdown better? I don't know. I think Auburn's going to play tough here, but it's a pass for me. But I think either way, it's going to be a fun game to watch. This is going to be one of them games that you definitely want to watch. Arkansas is a fun football team to watch play football, man. They leave it out there every time they go on the field. They give 120% each and every time, both sides of the ball. So you're going to get effort here from the Hogs for sure. But
yeah.
It's a lot of words, but I'm not playing it.
Yeah, I agree. What Sam Pittman's done there in a year and a bit now, outstanding, because the program was in shambles when he took it over. Boss, what do you like in this game?
Hey, I got to be a fan of Harsin coming from the Mountain West, doing what he's doing over there. He got some players playing a little bit out of their mind, but I love this Arkansas team too. I've been on the Arkansas train. They had some skip ups and lost some here and there, but I love the running attack that they do. I love the intensity on defense. I love how serious they take the game. And this was one that I sent this play down with my wife before we got on the show. So I'm taking Arkansas minus the points.
Yeah, someone asked in the chat earlier, Yale, UConn, briefly. I don't want UConn. And I know Yale's a favorite there in that game, 3.5 on the road. That game, it's got to matter more to Yale than UConn. UConn's having a miserable year. I don't think they could care less about Yale, to be honest with you. Whereas Yale, they see UConn, hey, let's beat these guys. I think there's more motivation on Yale's side in a game like that. So I would only be Yale. I would only be on Yale in that game.
Yeah, that's an in-state game. That's what that's all about.
Yeah. Exactly. So and UConn's just not a team I'm looking to back, and I've definitely been saying that for weeks here on the show. All right, we move on to the next game here. It is Duke and Virginia. Virginia 10.5 point home favorite, 69.5 the total. I don't trust either defense. These are horrible defenses. Holmberg at quarterback for Duke's mediocre, inconsistent. I like Armstrong though throwing the football for Virginia. He has been, and look, they've been a one-dimensional offense all year. They have had no ground game to speak of whatsoever. Could they work on the ground game here this week against Duke? Duke's not a great run defense. So if there's any week Virginia can have finally run the football a bit, maybe it's this week, but their secondary is just as bad, Duke. I think Virginia wins, but they haven't been favored by doubles against Duke in a very long time. It's not the right price range for me to trust Virginia. I will lean their way, but that's about it. Conor Mac, Duke, Virginia.
Yeah, I can't lay it here with Virginia. And I want a little bit more points with Duke. They played all right last week against Georgia Tech. I mean, other than the North Carolina game, Duke's been a lot better than last year. If I had to free play, I'd take the points with Duke.
Yeah, I mean, the Mateo Durant, Virginia's run defense is leaky, and that's surprising with a Bronco Mendenhall coach team. 201 rushing yards per game allowed, 5.2 per carry. It's another reason. The defenses that I don't trust, I can't lay double digits with them. Big Ragoo, what do you think?
It's funny how all these defensive coaches are going to offense and all the offensive coaches' team are going to defense, isn't it? But, yeah, that's another spot here. I think it's too many points for Virginia. I think the market's kind of ticked down a little bit in Duke's favor. And Cutcliffe he can generate some offense with his squad. And like you said, that leaky defense, with Virginia, I think Duke's going to get their points here. So I would lean Duke.
Yeah, the good passing attack does, maybe this could go over, but again, they didn't give us a bargain here. It's almost 70 this total, so it's just not the value. I thought Jake Kaiser, $10 dono. Thank you very much, Jake. We appreciate you. You're always with us. You're always retweeting our links and our videos. We appreciate it, Jake.
Oh yeah, Jake the Snake. Dono. You got to give it, boss.
Yep.
What up, though? You got to give it. Let's go. What up? What up?
There you go. DJ Big Boss. There you go. See, asking you shall receive. DJ Big Boss, Duke, Virginia.
Man, this is one I'm all the way off of this one. Duke has always been one of those little sneaky teams. Like right here seems like a good spot where they can sneak up and cover this one. But I don't think Duke can actually win this game. So I wouldn't bet a team to cover if I don't think they could win at all. So I'll be totally off of this game.
All right, totally off of this game. Next up, we've got Ball State and Eastern Michigan on the docket here. We've got pretty much a pick 'em, 54.5 the total. Ball State bouncing back last week. I was impressed, really impressed by Ball State. Western Michigan, a very good football team, and Ball State's not really had a great start to the year. And they took care of business really big time against a very good Western Michigan squad last week. We'll see if they can keep it up. We know this is supposed to be a good offensive football team with Drew Plitt, a lot of their skill position guys back. And they finally showed it last week in that 45-20 win over Western Michigan. Eastern Michigan bounces back with a win against Miami O 12 last week. I usually like taking Eastern Michigan as dogs, but they're only getting one, so they've got to win. And Ball State now has won 2 in a row in impressive fashion, against Army and Western Michigan, and they're starting to pick it up here. So, yeah, it's just two teams that I like. Eastern Michigan usually catching points, but I don't like to go against the momentum of Ball State right now. So it's a pass for me in this one. Keep an eye on the weather, though. Ypsilanti, Michigan, wind, rain in the forecast, like a lot of the Northeast and Midwest got some bad weather today, so keep that in mind as well. What do you think here, Connor? Ball State, Eastern Michigan.
Yeah, shout out to Who's Knock 499 Dono, best college football show on the planet. We appreciate you, my man. Thank you for the dono. Thanks. I agree. I like the under here a little bit. Ball State's starting to play like what we thought, kind of early on. They scuffled. They've won a few. I like Eastern Michigan at home. I think it's right there. It's a pick 'em. I think this is so. I have nothing on the side. Just lean under on the total.
All right, Big Ragoo.
I'm not the action expert, but just looking at hard numbers and momentum and unders and stuff tied into this game, I think the numbers are going Eastern Michigan's way. I think that bodes well to the under if you like Eastern Michigan in this spot. Both teams are playing pretty decent of late. So it would be I would lean towards the under or pass. I don't have a play, but I lean towards the under.
All right, we've lost DJ Big Boss, so we'll get him back in a minute or two. All right, we move on now to the next game, which is as we continue along here. Air Force is that? No, that's a later game. No, they got that wrong. All right, next up we've got I believe it's Fresno and Wyoming. Yeah, it's Fresno and Wyoming. That game is 2 p.m. Eastern. So that is next. Yes, Fresno and Wyoming. We've got Fresno 3-point road favorites, 53. I like Fresno here. They're off a bye. It's a cheap number. Wyoming's been one of those teams. Yeah, they've competed at times, but they've also been a team that hasn't necessarily found ways to win games. I mean, that's been the problem at times this year for Wyoming. I know they are, solid 4-1, but they've had a couple missteps and they've had a couple of close calls. And for Fresno and that passing attack, it's never easy to win in Wyoming. You respect that home field there. But I think this is a spot here where you look at Fresno. You look at Wyoming, too. They played a very weak schedule. Montana State, Northern Illinois, Ball State, UConn, Air Force. You look at Fresno. They've had to play UCLA. They've had to play Oregon. They've been tested big time this year. I like Jake Haener, the quarterback. You look at Wyoming's defense, giving up almost 200 passing yards per game. It's actually more than they normally do. The bye week for Fresno, I think, is significant. So the going to elevation this travel spot to Wyoming, which can be weird, is alleviated because of the bye for Fresno. So I like the Bulldogs here as long as you only have to lay 3.5. Conor Mac, Fresno, Wyoming.
Yeah, this one's tricky here. It's down mostly to 3 everywhere. I love Fresno. It's just a little different spot. Fresno getting points early on in the year. Now laying a field goal at Wyoming. It's kind of like going to Hawaii. These are just weird spots. So it's a pass for me. I think Fresno can win it. You just got to, lay that field goal on the road.
Big Ragoo.
Bowl ball for me, guys. Wyoming at home. Give me a bowl ball plus.
Yeah, it is. It's a tough home field. I see what you're getting at there. DJ Big Boss.
My mic is muted.
No, you're
Can
good.
y'all hear me? Oh, okay, yep. Good. I was really on Fresno State. On paper, the offense over there at Fresno State, like you said, the schedule they had, everything looks really, really good for them on their side. So I was kind of questioning the line. Thought the line should have been a little higher, about 6 or 6.5, 7. But it's all the way down here pushing 3. So I really like it right there. But then when I double back on the game and I took a look at it, man, this is that weird spot. The same thing that happened to San Diego State. I mean, not San Diego State, San Jose State. They had to fly all the way to Hawaii and play with the time difference, caught the L. Then they got to go right back out and go over to Wyoming. A lot of travel up in there, which that sometimes these young kids, especially around this time of the year too, like when you have freshmen and stuff who don't know how to pack, don't know how to balance school and football, this is the time of year that travel wears on them. They're not the players that you thought they were. But I'm going to stick with my bet, because on paper, what's his name? Kalani, the coach over there at Fresno State, he's just been doing an awesome job. And the guy Hayner, he's just like a clean quarterback. He's going to be maybe NFL bound at some point. So, NFL bound quarterback. And Fresno State, believe it or not, they've picked it up a little bit on defense as well. They're playing a Wyoming team that has just been struggling. And here we go with Sean Chambers. Man, this guy is a drama queen. Every time, he do all this good stuff, and then he either gets hurt or he just cracks under pressure. And I was on Wyoming against Air Force, and they just didn't show up. I mean, they still have that Wyoming defense. I'm not sure of the weather in that game, but I don't think we're getting like a real Wyoming cold home game right here. So I think Fresno State steals this one right here.
I got a question. Who's going to be the starting quarterback for Fresno then?
Let's see. Let me just double check it, because right now it was last I checked. It was Hayner, of course, has been banged up for a while.
Yeah.
But last I heard, they were hoping to see him in there today. Let me just see if we get an update on that. But let me just double check here with Fresno corner.
Yeah,
probable.
I don't see him out.
He's probable. That's
I don't see him out.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So, and obviously that makes a world of difference because he's been a great quarterback this year for Fresno. All right, Miami, Ohio, Akron, Miami 20-point home favorites, 51 the total. This is a quarterback question mark here where not Blaine Gabbert, his younger brother, Brett Gabbert, may not play due to injury, and AJ Mayer may have to take over at the quarterback spot here for Miami, which he's done already this year. So I don't think it's a huge drop-off. They both can play. Brett Gabbert's good, but it's not like A.J. Mayer is all that much worse. He's very capable. He started some games last year for Miami. Akron, big upset against Bowling Green last week, but if you see the turnover stats, a lot of it was turnover-based. Bowling Green just couldn't hang on to the football against Akron, who beat them as double-digit underdogs. We'll see. I mean, to me, that's the problem with that win. I mean, a lot of turnovers from Bowling Green. A better offense here, Miami. They have been good at home as well. We've seen them play very well on this home field, being covering numbers at home. And last year, they just destroyed Akron in Akron, 38-7, and outgained them 416-145. So it's just one of those games where I don't want to overreact to Akron's win because a lot of that was just mistakes and turnovers by Bowling Green. It feels like Miami could bounce back, and it feels like they could win this game by 3 touchdowns or more, but I'm not going to lay the 20. It's a pass. Conor Mac, what do you think?
Yeah, I can't lay the 20 here with Miami. You're right. That was crazy. A lot of points all of a sudden late in that Bowling Green for Akron to win that game with turnovers. I'd only be on the dog, though. I'd like if it was over 3 touchdowns, but it's a pass for me.
All right, Big Ragoo.
Hey, remember we were dogging on Bowling Green last week, how bad they were? They were like 5-0 against the spread going into that game.
Yeah.
Come to find out.
Good on the point spread, yeah.
Anyways, no, I don't want no part of this one with the 20 points. Either way. And Akron, did Akron get a W yet? Did they get their first W last week or the week before?
Yeah, they beat Bowling Green.
That's right. That's right. Hello.
Yeah.
I was just talking about that. Yeah, so, I mean, we said they were going to go zip for the season, but they got their W. So, I don't know. 20 points is still a lot. I mean, maybe they sneak in there under that number again, but I don't want no part of it.
All right, boss.
Hey, no action on the Saturday for me when they got all kinds of other games out here. So I'm going to pass on that.
We understand that for sure. All right, next up, Bowling Green, Northern Illinois, which means you're probably not going to have much on this, right, boss? With 9.5-point home favorites, Northern Illinois, 44.5 the total in this game. Bowling Green, finally loses a game to the point spread as well last week in that game against Akron. We'll see if they bounce back. They're just not the kind of offense I really like. And look, Northern Illinois has impressed me, and I went against them with Eastern Michigan and lost, and I'm like, I'm not going to go against this team for a little bit, and it's a good thing. They've covered 3 straight. They've won 3 straight. How about beating Toledo in the Glass Bowl on the road last week? 13-point underdogs. They beat Toledo 22-20. I'm still not a Rocky Lombardi fan. Who's kidding who? But their defense is good. They can run the football, Northern Illinois. There's been lots to like with this group. I'm not going against them. You could ask now, they got to lay 9. Are they ready to do that against Bowling Green? I'm not sure, but I'm not going against Northern Illinois. I've lost once already going against them, and they're playing good football right now. I'd actually lean to the favorite here, the Huskies. Conor Mac, what do you think?
Yeah, they are playing good football right now. This one, it's already gotten pounded, is under. Now I don't think there's a lot of value at 44.5, but this is under written all over it. Northern Illinois, good defense. Bowling Green, other than last week, their defense has been phenomenal, and then they lay an egg with Akron. So give me the under, and yeah, I'd lean with the points with Bowling Green.
All right, Big Ragoo.
Yeah, I would lean Northern Illinois in this spot. Just even though, like we just talked about, Bowling Green's a money machine, right? But Northern Illinois
as dogs, not favorites. Don't take a -14 like last week.
Yeah,
well, you want to take them catching points. Yeah,
that's the difference. Yeah, that's the difference. That's the big difference. But I think this game bodes well to the under. But like Conor says, all the value's gone here, so it's a definite pass here.
All right, boss.
Same thing for me. Total pass on this one right here. Even if I had to lay something, I'd probably take the points with Bowling Green though. Like you can't deny good defense. Despite it might not have resulted to a lot of wins, but it did a lot ATS. So I would have to side with the defense and the points.
All right, good stuff. All right, next up we've got Miami, North Carolina. North Carolina 7.5 point home favorite, 63 the total. Pass for me. Really, I mean, a slight lean to the over, but can I trust Tyler Van Dyke is the question. Obviously, De'Aaron King's out for the year. It's Van Dyke's show now at the quarterback spot for Miami. But I know I'm not trusting Miami's defense to stop North Carolina. I remember last year, Sam Howell and the Tar Heels just embarrassed Miami's defense, embarrassed Manny Diaz's stop unit last year. But the question is, North Carolina, do they care? 1 week they care, 1 week they play great, and the next week they're just completely off the mark. What North Carolina are we going to get here? I mean, they're 3-3, and that's where they should be. 1 week they're up, 1 week they're down. Last week, Florida State, 18-point favorites. They lose 35-25. They beat Duke. They lose to Georgia Tech. They pound Virginia. Like, what's it going to be this week for North Carolina? It's a guessing game, and I'm not in the mood for a guessing game. So pass for me with only a slight lean to the over. Conor Mac, what do you think here?
Yeah, North Carolina is like USC. It's you can't get a grip on them. They win, they lose. I never want them at this point, even if you think they're going to bounce back and win here. I can't do it. I just don't. I think they're not very good. I'd only be on Miami. I haven't took them, but take the points with Miami in this one. I think they could cover.
Big Ragoo.
Yeah, if you get the right North Carolina team, it's an easy W, but you don't know. Like you said,
yeah.
It's a crapshoot. It's a crapshoot every week with this effing team, man. It's unreal. I mean, my numbers have North Carolina on the side, but I don't want no part of it just because of inconsistencies and the jury's. I mean, we're talking about hot seats. And Manny Diaz, he's going to be on the hot seat pretty soon too if he don't straighten his shit out down there in South Florida.
Yeah, definitely difficult. Boss, what do you like here?
Y'all know each week I express my hate for Sam Howell and Wack Brown, and it continues. But in this one right here, I hate these two teams equally because I don't really like Miami. I never really liked the stunt that they did with De'Aaron King, where he pulled out of where he was at, 2-3 games in the season, knowing that he was going to go over to Miami to be the starting quarterback. And he's still injury prone. So that's just a big loss for them. I used to love the turnover chain, but they don't even get turnovers like they used to. So I just hate both of these teams equally. So I'm going to leave it alone.
All right. It won't be my best bet for the show, but kind of like last week, we got people asking early best bet, the noon only kickoffs, the noon Eastern or 12:30 kickoffs, best bets. I'll throw up mine because I already know what it is. It's Oklahoma State plus 3.5 against Texas. There you go for the noon Eastern kickoffs. Anybody have a noon game? Someone's asking.
I like that one,
yep.
But I like Minnesota. Take the 4.5. So I think they win outright.
There you go. Minnesota plus 4.5. A Big Ragoo if you have an early start.
No early.
Nothing? There you go. That's don't force it.
No.
Absolutely. Good.
Trust me, my best bets have been on fire. I mean, ice cold, should I say. On fire to fade.
Yeah. Boss, if there's an early game that piques your interest most, what would it be?
It's definitely this conspiracy theory right here in the under in the Texas A&M game.
All right.
I just laid that one on the phone.
There you go. A&M Missouri. There you go with There you go. There's your early best bets. All right, we continue now. Troy, Texas State. We've got Troy, 7.5-point road favorites, 48 the total in this one. For Texas State, here's another team that they've competed pretty well, actually, believe it or not, at times, this team, but you're just not always sure, 1 week to the next with so many teams in college football, but you can include Texas State in that mix. Disappointing last week because I took Troy and they had a big early lead and they couldn't. They won, but they didn't cover against Georgia Southern. Texas State, just, you look at them, they've had a couple overtime wins last week, 4 overtimes against South Alabama, and not overly impressive in that game. The totals dropped in this one. It's pretty low for a suspect Texas State defense. And I think Troy's offense has been kind of erratic, sporadic, you could say, but I think they could get it going here this week. I lean to laying the points with Troy, and I lean over the total in this game. Conor Mac, Troy, Texas State.
Yeah, that total is interesting. Troy's been an under team, but it's pretty low here. It's a pass. I like Troy. They played well, but I can't lay this example. Texas State, has played well at times this year, so just a pass for me.
All right, Big Ragoo.
I think Troy's got the better D yielding points here, for sure. Under a touchdown. I think it's a low scoring game, and I think Troy can get to that number.
All right, boss.
Man, I was doing some research like I do at the end of the week, and I run some numbers, and Troy came up on the radar big time. I don't know if y'all know Troy, number 6 ranked defense, only giving up 272 yards a game, only giving up 176 in the air, 95 on the ground. That is impressive. And here they are with a low number, like 7.5 against the Texas State's team that struggles on offense. They're ranked 104, 346 yards a game. They're doing 194 in the air, 150 on the ground. That's kind of balanced, but it's still low. And then you're going up against a team that's going to be playing some solid defense. I like Troy, and I like the under in this game.
All right, good stuff. Pitt, Virginia Tech. Next up, we've got Pitt. Pitt's up, 6.5 now. Road favorites, 56. I've liked Pitt all week. I still like Pitt, but boy, it's getting rich now with 6.5 on the road at Virginia Tech. But again, this is like what I said with LSU. It's not the same environment at Virginia Tech when they're playing on a noon Eastern or early afternoon kickoff. This is 3:30 Eastern compared to at night. And I don't trust Virginia Tech after just a gut-wrenching, gut punch loss to Notre Dame last week. And their defense for the first time all year got ripped. I mean, they couldn't get a stop when they needed one. And now you got to play this rolling on fire Pitt offense. Kenny Pickett is playing at a terrific level. This is the best I've ever seen him play quarterback. I think they get it done. I like the over. I'm going to ride Pitt over again, even though I think Virginia Tech is a bit of an under team. Pitt's gone over the total in every game, and it's not even been close. And I think Burmeister and Virginia Tech can score a bit. Pitt doesn't shut anybody out. So I like the over. I like the road favorite here. Conor Mac, what do you think?
Yeah, I think there'll be points. Notre Dame backup quarterback came in and just dialed them up and lit them up. And I think Pitt's gone a little 6.5. I think Pitt's good. I can't do it. I'd only be on Voltech, even how horrible they blew it last week. 6.5 at home. I'd only be on the dog here, but I lean over.
All right, Big Ragoo.
Yeah, I think Pitt walks away with the W here, but I don't know if they get to that. That's a tough little number there against a quality Virginia Tech team. And like you said, it is in a night game. But still, it's still Virginia Tech, and it's still a conference type game. And these two teams are usually towards the top tier of that side of the division. Every year they match up pretty well in this game. So I would lean Virginia Tech taking the points.
Braxton Burmeister expected to play for Virginia Tech, but playing through a shoulder injury. So maybe that is also influencing
that's
this line
definitely got something to do with it.
Maybe a banged-up quarterback today for Voltech. Boss, what do you like here?
Hey, I can only play this one way as I've been looking at that Notre Dame hangover. The only team that was able to beat it was Cincinnati. So I fade Virginia Tech all the way right here. Take Pittsburgh.
All right, there we go. All right, next up as we continue along here, it's let me just see here. Next 3:30 Eastern game. There it is. Arizona and Colorado. Colorado 6.5 point home favorites, 46.5 the total. I'm not going to go into too much detail. I'm not laying 6.5 with Colorado. This Brendan Lewis at quarterback, it's been rough for them, 1-4. But on the flip side, Arizona 0-5, haven't won a game. They've now dropped most of their games against the spread as well. But Colorado, 0-3 straight up, 0-3 against the spread last 3 weeks. Non-competitive in all 3 games. Can't lay with them. Can't trust Arizona either. Pass. Conor Mac, what do you think?
Ugly. Under. I mean, I don't know how these teams get over this total. Now down to 6.5, not as much, but it's I like Arizona a little bit. I didn't bet it, but I'd only be on them. I know Colorado's at home, but they've looked awful the last few weeks, like you just said.
Yeah, they have no passing game. The quarterback's completed 53% of his passes. That's terrible. Big Ragoo, what do you think here?
Yeah, it's a pass for me also. But I think trending wise, I think I would have to think maybe put Colorado on upset alert in this spot. Even though Arizona's not world beaters, I think things are trending more in a direction versus Colorado, and then maybe they can sneak a win. Points are going to be hard to come by here. That's why I would lean towards Arizona.
All right, boss, what do you like here?
Hey, after having Oregon first half -7.5, and they got the ball with 3 minutes to go in the second quarter, and they decided they wanted to just walk on down, I had to call my therapist this morning and talk to him about these late night Pac-12 games. And he prescribed to me today that I not take any Pac-12 games because the refs there are full of shit.
There you go. Full of shit Pac-12 refs. Stay away.
Full of shit. Full of shit. They question if they got their clothes on the right side. I don't understand those guys.
I agree. Toledo, Central Michigan. Toledo, 5-point road favorites, 53 the total in this one. Obviously, Toledo is looking to bounce back. Loss at home to Northern Illinois last week, and now they got to go on the road, face Central Michigan, who are actually 2-0 straight up at home. Central Michigan's had both quarterbacks banged up the last couple weeks, Daniel Richardson and Jacob Sermon. But Richardson did play last week, struggled a bit. The key for Central Michigan, can they run the football a little bit more successful when they can? Toledo's run defense has been shockingly poor. 146 per game allowed, 3.6 yards per. It's not been great, the Toledo run defense. So I lean a little to Central Michigan here as home dogs. Conor Mac, what do you think here?
Yeah, so do I. I'm not going to play this. This is a Mac game. I want nothing to deal with. I would take Central Michigan, though, on the points here.
Big Ragoo.
Yeah, I would lean towards the under in this spot.
Right, lean towards the under. Boss.
I'm off this game. Me and Toledo ain't got along all season. There's no reason to jump in now.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. All right. UAB, Southern Miss. UAB 16-point road favorites, 43.5 the total in this game. Southern Miss is beyond just ripped apart at quarterback. Ty Keys was their backup. Their starter quarterback gets hurt. Then Ty Keys gets hurt. They're down to the third string now, Southern Miss at quarterback. And we're starting to see that, it's just tough sledding right now for this team to get anything going offensively. Miserable first year for Will Hall. I still think he's a good hire, but he's just had so many injuries all at the quarterback. 0-4 straight up, 0-4 against the spread the last 4 games. 12-point loss to Troy, blown out by Bama, 5-point loss to Rice, double-digit loss to UTEP last week at home. It's just a team that's got really, really big-time problems on offense, and obviously quarterback injuries playing a part. Jake Lang wasn't great in the game last week for Southern Miss, and now they got to play this UAB team that can play some pretty tough defense, and a defense that against a very, very limited offense, could be able to have their way in this one. A lot of points to lay. Don't know if I'll lay the 16, but certainly I would lay -16 with UAB right now before I would consider Southern Miss in their current state. Conor Mac, what do you think here?
Yeah, Southern Miss still can't cover a number. Just loss. ATS. I'd lay it with UAB. It's on the road, and they got the number probably right there where to get you. Either you go over, get 17, or they're going to get you. So I'm off.
All right, Big Ragoo.
Yeah, good call, Conor, on that. I think, the UAB, they're not setting the world on fire offensively. Defensively, pretty solid. But they win games. They go out and they play good football. I mean, they score like in the mid to high 20s on average, and all you need is an easy backdoor from Southern Miss here to blow that number up. So I don't have a play on the game, but it would have to be I would take Southern Miss a pass in this spot, believe it or not.
Yeah, last 3 games, they're giving up almost 200 rushing yards, Southern Miss, and UAB wants to run the football. Although Dylan Hopkins, give him credit, because Tyler Johnston, the UAB starting quarterback's out. Dylan Hopkins has taken over the last few games. 9 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 61% completions. He's been solid. He's been serviceable. It's not been a huge drop-off, Johnston to Hopkins at quarterback for UAB. It's been a huge drop-off, though, for Southern Miss from their starting quarterback now to their third string. Boss, what do you think here?
Hey, I would go. I would either go under or team total under of Southern Miss. This week the book in the college football on these low unders, like last night, they had some pretty low unders and they stayed fairly low. So right here we get a 43. I mean, Southern Miss, their offense is not doing much of nothing. They rank almost last, 124, in college football, and they play pretty good defense as well. And UAB plays awesome defense as well. So the under, it kind of speaks for itself right there.
Yeah.
All right, liking the under.
13.5 is a total, DJ, for Southern Miss.
Yeah, that might be a good team total under right there.
Yeah, definitely something to look at. Yeah, it's going to be tough sledding for them, no question. Purdue and Iowa. Iowa 11-point home favorites, 42.5 the total. This is definitely a troubling spot for Iowa. They're off the big win against Penn State, huge game, although bolstered by the fact that they lost They lost their quarterback Sean Clifford to injury in that game last week. And the backup, it was rough against that defense on the road, and it really halted any chance for Penn State. Iowa gets the win. I'm not laying doubles in this spot. Obviously, a huge win. And Purdue can play some defense, but at the same time, how's Purdue going to move the football against this defense? Purdue's offense has been extremely disappointing all year. Under certainly makes sense. It's a low number, 42.5, but this definitely has a feel of a very low-scoring game. And this is just not the spot. I'm not looking to actively fade Iowa because they've been that good defensively, and Purdue's offense has been not good, but just not the right spot for me to want to get there with Iowa here, -11. Conor Mac, what do you think?
Yeah, we talk about it all the time. This is Iowa laying this type number. Watch out, But look, Purdue, 13-13-13 the last 3 weeks. Notre Dame, Illinois, Minnesota. More of the same. I don't know if they get 13 under here.
All right, Big Ragoo.
We know that Iowa's going to score in the 20s, and we know that Purdue's going to score in the teens. So are they going to get to the 2-touchdown score, or are they going to get to the 10-point spot, 13? So that's a tough number for Iowa. If it was single digits, it'd be a no-brainer. But double digits here, I think, and at 43, 42.5. If that game would have opened up at 40, I would have jumped on the under. But now it's kind of ticked down from, let's say, 43 to 42-ish. It doesn't make sense what I'm saying, but when I play unders, if I see a natural under that comes out where it's in the like 40, 41, 42, I'll play. But if it ticks down the other way, it kind of pushes me off of it. But no, I pass.
Yeah, I wanted to jump in on this game earlier in the week, but it's against my code to take Iowa laying points. You want to take them when they're getting points, and this is a big number. And Purdue is one of those teams that could be a little streaky. They could get them. You never know. They can go upset alert if they don't bring their A game today. So I lean taking the points right there, but I'm totally off of the game though. I can't get myself to do it. But from judging what everybody's saying, if everybody's ticky-tacky around the number right there, then something must not be right with Iowa. So if I had to lay something, I'd take Purdue plus the points.
All right, next up, we've got Kent State, Western Michigan. Western Michigan, 7-point home favorite, 68.5 the total. Western Michigan was looking pretty solid until they ran into Ball State of all teams last week, 45-20. Can Western Michigan bounce back now here at home? Ends up being the question. All I know is I like Kent State. I even like Kent State more when they're in this point spread range, when they're dogs, when they're catching points with that electrifying extreme tempo offense with Dustin Crum leading the way at quarterback. And I think Kent State's got a chance to win the MAC East Division this year. Real contenders to be in the MAC Championship. This is their chance to show why. Give me the points here with the Golden Flashes. I think they got a real shot. Close all the way to maybe even win outright. Conor Mac, Kent State, Western Michigan.
Yeah, Kent State, when they're favorite laying points, I don't want them. This is where I want them. Give me the 7 with Kent State.
All right, Big Ragoo.
I'm jumping on board with you guys on that train, Kent State and the offense to keep it. Maybe sneak away with the W, like you said, Ian.
Yeah, they got a great offense too, Western Michigan, although it was derailed a little bit last week. But the bottom line is, even if Western Michigan's ever up 7-10, there's the back doors wide open against a team like Kent State, which can strike very quickly at any moment. Boss, what do you like here?
The total in this one sparked my eye. I'm seeing 68.5, but I'm also seeing that Kent State is 1-5 to the under, and Western Michigan is 2-4 to the under. So looks like two good under teams right here. I don't see the reasoning for the total to be that high. So I definitely jump in on the under on that total.
Yeah, and there's a chance of some, rain as well in Michigan today. So, yeah, I mean, that's pretty high. I mean, normally I like overs with those two offenses, but you're right. It seems high, and the weather's a little dicey. So, yeah, I see what you're looking at there. Western Kentucky, Old Dominion. This is an over I really like, but this is another game where there could be some rain, could be some wind in Norfolk, Virginia, home of Old Dominion here. So keep an eye on that. 13.5-point road favorite, 66 the total. I've said it all week on this show, right? Western Kentucky overs, wash, rinse, and repeat. It's every week they've gone over the total. And I'm still betting it today. All I'm saying with Bailey Zappi, that air raid offense, Old Dominion has a terrible defense, but Old Dominion's offense has put up points at times, and Western Kentucky's defense will give up points. So I like the over. The only thing that's holding me back from a best bet type of wager with this one is the chance of some rain, chance of some wind today in this game in Norfolk, Virginia. Conor Mac, Western Kentucky, Old Dominion.
Yeah, I lean over, but it's getting up there. Old Dominion's playing some good football. I like Western Kentucky, but when you have that bad a defense, laying 2 touchdowns on the road, I can't take them. So it's a pass on the side.
Big Ragoo.
Yeah, I was on the over too, but I'm going to take pause on account of the weather conditions here. But maybe I might look towards an under, because maybe there might be some value built into that number depending on rain. So I'd wait to game time and see what the weather's going to look like here.
All right, Western Kentucky, Old Dominion, boss.
Well, I'm kind of contrarian right here, because I'm looking at under right here. I don't see Old Dominion getting out there scoring too many points, but Old Dominion does have a little bit of defense to offer to the game. They're ranked 37. They're giving up only 330 yards per game, 131 on the ground, 199 in the air. And most teams that can defend the pass at an average of under 200 yards a game are pretty solid defenses that I like to trust. And I kind of trust OD's defense in this one right here. They had a lot of low-scoring games. And this is one that I took early in the week. I took it at 66.5, but it's up to 68 right now. So I like the under in this one big time.
All right, liking the under here, Western Kentucky, Old Dominion. We go from one Kentucky to another. The big Kentucky and Georgia. Big one in the SEC East. Georgia, 21.5-point home favorites, 44.5 the total. This is just games that when you get teams that are juggernauts like Georgia is, and they're just so dominant on defense, and yet they're still covering numbers with that defense. It's like, okay, this is an inflated number, and yet you could still find your way to Georgia probably covering, especially if they can force some Kentucky turnovers. And we've seen weeks, and I like Will Levis. He's been great, the Penn State transfer, and he had a great game against LSU last week. But, there's been weeks where they've been scuffling a bit against some solid defensive teams like South Carolina, Florida. They only scored 16-20. And that worries you when you're playing an elite defense like this. So it's a lot of points to lay. I'm not going to lay it with Georgia. There is value, I think, on Kentucky, but value doesn't always cover. And when you got a defense like Georgia's, they could still find a way to cover this number late. So it's going to be Kentucky's just got to play good, sound football. They got to bring it on defense, and they got to force turnovers, give their offense short fields. That's their path to stay in this game. We'll see if they can do it. I like Kentucky a lot this year. I backed them a lot, but I'm going to pump the brakes in this spot. Conor Mac, Kentucky, Georgia.
Yeah, under here. I think the full game under. You can look at Kentucky team total under. I don't know how they're Kentucky. Has a tough time scoring in some of these games. They have a good defense, so under, and the Kentucky team total under here.
All right, Big Ragoo.
I have some questions for Georgia's offense. And I know Bennett's kind of he's been turning the ball over a little bit. He's kind of fitting that manager role here, so to speak. So I think if Bennett takes care of the football, then Georgia could probably get to the number. But it's a big number against a quality Kentucky team. So even though they're playing between the hedges, I got to lean Kentucky in this spot. So Georgia, even though Georgia's defense is really solid, I would lean Kentucky, getting all them big points at home.
Last 3 years
on the road in Athens. Anything better than 3 touchdowns, I'm taking Kentucky.
Well, and the last 3 years too, Big Ragoo, Georgia hasn't beaten Kentucky by more than 21 points. You know, you had 17, 21, and 11 were the margins of victory. So that's why I say this is a big number for Georgia.
Yeah,
I'm not saying they can't cover, but you're not in terms of the bargain ship has sailed when it comes to backing the Georgia Bulldogs, in my opinion. Boss, what do you think?
And Georgia's with the backup quarterback, even though he's serviceable, he's got to stop turning the ball over. If they do that, then they can probably get the number. If he turns it over, Kentucky's defense is nothing to sneeze at either. They're pretty solid.
Yeah, he's made a lot of great plays. Bennett, he's played a lot better than I thought, but he's also, you're right, turned it over a few times. So
you got to stay away from the turnover.
Exactly. Keep that in mind. Boss, what do you like here?
This is a wicked spot right here, man. And we see this in the SEC all the time. A team like Kentucky that's like, changing what they're doing and having a good season, going against this lockdown team like Georgia, like, Alabama, like teams that's just supposed to be running over teams. And here we are debating, should we take the 21 or not, and all that kind of stuff. But I think it could be a letdown spot for Georgia. It could be one of those spots where they're like, okay, we just get past these guys and keep, their main goal is to stay undefeated so they can play in the SEC championship game. That's what their goal is right now. They don't care about the 21 or none of that. So I was kind of leaning Kentucky. I went to sleep last night hoping my balls grew up a little bit so I can go and bet it. But I woke up with the same balls. So
come on,
I'm
man.
I'm going to pass on that one. I'm going to pass on that one, man. Ball's not big enough to take Kentucky against this. Georgia only let up, 2 touchdowns for the season, man? Come on. I can't do it.
Tough to do it. It is tough to do it, but I'm tempted. I'm leaning closer to Kentucky than Georgia.
Maybe if I take a nap and wake back up, I might get a little growth.
Later.
Yeah. All right, we got BYU Baylor. Very interesting and oddly timed non-conference game here. Baylor 5-point home favorites, 52 the total. For Baylor, they're looking better by the week. Baylor. They just keep on improving. That was impressive last week. What was it? Beat down over West Virginia. Very impressive win for Baylor, 45-20. Only the one loss this year to Oklahoma State for this Bears team. Jerry Bohannon had his best game at quarterback last week. The defense has been good. But this is a weird spot. And you look at Baylor, their eyes are on the Big 12, right? The championship race, which they're still in, by the way. And they got Texas. They've got TCU. They've got Oklahoma coming up. Are they really, really hell-bent on this spot against BYU? Whereas BYU, I think, when they play a Power 5 team, they're always up for it, BYU. And that's one of the most misleading scores ever last week, that loss to Boise State, 26-17. They just turned the ball over left and right. Jaron Hall, the offense, they outgained Boise by 101 yards, 2.2 yards per play. They went up and down the field against Boise State, and they just shot themselves in the foot every time they got close to scoring last week against Boise. Definitely a misleading final score, and I think that provides extra value here with BYU in this spot. I like the points a little bit with the Cougs in this one. Big Ragoo, BYU, Baylor.
I think BYU travels well. They get up for the big games. And defenses, we don't know, traveling. And Baylor's got a good defense at home also and all the time. But I think offensively it's going to be a tight game. I don't think we're going to see the big points that Baylor has been accustomed to putting up in this spot. I think BYU plays them tough. I think it's closer than people are going to think. And anything less than a touchdown, anything like 6-7 points, I'm taking BYU, and I might sprinkle a little bit here in this spot too.
All right, boss, BYU Baylor.
I don't know what to do. The jury has still been out on Baylor and Iowa State, but the jury settled on Iowa State. The jury's still out on Baylor. We know BYU, they're part of the whole thing of the conference changing, like they're a key piece in a lot of conferences and what they're doing. So I would want to back BYU, but I didn't like the way the team responded in the Boise State game. It looked like the coach wanted a lot more than the players. Same thing like we seen in San Jose State last night. So I hope the players are still focused and can make it on this travel to a Baylor team that's constantly trying to prove itself. So this gives them both a stage today to show up and show out. So I don't know. I'm gonna watch this game. I'm off.
All right. And by the way, the Georgia game, we think Bennett's going to play again, but JT Daniels hasn't been ruled out. They're going to see how he feels, in pregame warm-up for Georgia there in that game against Kentucky. And I know Kirby Smart said it on the ESPN College Game Day. He was on with the crew earlier, and he said the same thing, that they're going to see how he feels right before the game. All right, we continue on now. Thanks to everyone for joining us. Hit the like button. We're making a good pace here. Texas Tech, Kansas. Texas Tech, 18.5-point road favorite, 68.5 the total. Like Kansas is, I thought with Lance Leipold taking over, maybe some glimmers of hope. I've actually taken Kansas, I think, once or twice this year, and I paid the price for it. I'm not doing it again. They're 0-5 against the spread. They've been absolutely god-awful. 59-7 loss to Iowa State in their last game. The only thing they got going for them is they're off a bye, and I'm not even sure it's going to matter. Texas Tech, the problem is Texas Tech's not one of those teams I love laying this kind of number with on the road, but I've kind of pumped the brakes on backing Kansas. Columbia's actually been okay as the backup quarterback since Shuck got hurt for Tech, but just don't want to lay this many. Should go over the total. 83 last week in the TCU Tech game. Kansas giving up 59 and 52 and 45 and 49 in the last 4 games. Should go over the total. Kansas 4-0 to the over coming into this game. So I like the over a little bit. Kansas, Texas Tech. What do you think, Big Ragoo?
Yeah, they disappointed me last week. Tech did in that lackluster effort. But Kansas, come on, really. This is a spot where they should roll in this spot here. But I think they try to get their offense on track too, and they tune it up a little bit going forward. So I'm not going to say I want to lay the 16.5, 17, but it's either Texas Tech or pass. I'm definitely not going to back Kansas in this spot.
All right, boss.
Hey, y'all know I like those Texas Tech overs, but I don't trust Kansas in this one. But the number that they put up is saying even Kansas can score against Texas Tech, according to the number. But I'm gonna stay off of this game. We don't know. We'll wait for next year to mess with Kansas again.
All right, next up here as we continue along, we've got Vanderbilt, South Carolina. South Carolina 18.5-point road favorites, 51.5 the total in this one. I don't want to lay this many with South Carolina, but I don't know if I want to back Vanderbilt either. They just lost 42. Now I like under a little bit in this game. South Carolina's not got a potent offense. Doty is, solid game manager type quarterback. They run the football a lot in Beamer's offense here. And I don't know if Vanderbilt's going to do much on offense against. I think South Carolina's actually got a solid defense, much improved. And they can shut down a limited offensive team like Vandy. So more than the side, I think the under is probably the best way to go here. Big Reg, what do you think?
Totally agree with you on that spot. Definitely, I can see this game being like a 27-13 final, somewhere in that range. I don't see South Carolina putting big numbers up unless they just get a lot of ball bouncing going their way on the turnover side. But I don't see a lot of offensive coming from Vanderbilt against that Gamecock defense, and I don't see Gamecock scoring a ton of points. So lean towards the under for sure.
All right, boss.
I can't lay the 20 with South Carolina, but I think South Carolina comes out and definitely gets it done today. Maybe they shut Vandy out and just run it up a little bit. If I could take a bet on this game, I'd probably have to stay with y'all and go with the under because we don't know what we're going to get out of Vandy right here.
Yeah, definitely. I think the under's the best way to go. Just a lot of points to lay with South Carolina, but can Vandy do anything offensively is the biggest question to me. UTSA Rice, and it's at the Alamo Dome, San Antonio, home base of Pub Sports Radio. UTSA 17.5-point home favorites, 53 the total in this game. Rice has had a pretty tough year, although the last 2 games I give them credit. Texas Southern, although that was a FCS team. They won 48-34, and they beat a Southern Miss team that's down to their third-string quarterback 2 weeks ago. They are off a bye, so that's good from Bloomgren's team. Extra time to prepare, and they're going to need every bit of it facing this juggernaut UTSA, which has had an outstanding year. The Roadrunners undefeated. I think the Roadrunners will do whatever they want offensively. Frank Harris and Sear McCormick and company, this offense, which has put up 31, 24, 52 last week against Western Kentucky on the road. The one thing about Rice is their defense has fallen big time on hard times. And they've had a good defense in the past, not this year. 38 to Arkansas, 44 allowed to Houston, 58 allowed to Texas, 34 to Texas Southern, FCS team a few weeks ago. I actually think this total is a little low. UTSA, I think, can go for, a good amount of points, 35 to 42. You get 10 14 points out of Rice. There's your over. I think 42, for UTSA, you get 17, 20 maybe out of Rice. There you go. And you get over the totals. And Rice has been trending over the total this year as well. So Rice UTSA for me over 53. Big Ragoo, what do you like here?
Yeah, I like the team total over for UTSA. It's 5 touchdowns, but I think they'll get a touchdown a quarter, and then maybe an extra before the half and a field goal in between. So I think they get 38, anywhere from like 38 to 45 points in this spot here. So it's not a big strong play for me, but I definitely like this spot here for UTSA to keep going, keep that train going, and get the points up on the board.
We be pubbing in San Antonio with UTSA this weekend. I think it's a good spot for them to get a chance to breathe, run the score up a little bit, have some fun. So I back UTSA in this one.
Yeah, I'm certainly not going against them. That is for sure, no question. All right, next up as we continue along here on the show. We got we're down to the night games, so here we go. Good stuff. All right, 7:00 games. We start with Colorado State, New Mexico. It's a DJ Big Boss special here. Mountain West, Colorado State, 11.5-point road favorites, 45.5 the total in this game. Let's give Colorado State. I'll give them some credit, even though I hated Dazio with a passion as a head coach. But last few weeks have been better. They beat Toledo. They beat San Jose State. They actually cover against Iowa on the road. Centeo at quarterbacks actually looked serviceable. He's actually looked good, believe it or not, the last few weeks at quarterback for the Rams. Ajon Vivens is running the ball well for them at running back. I mean, playing some good football, and New Mexico has just been dreadful. That's all you can say. They have not covered a number yet. 0-6 against the spread. Their only wins were against New Mexico State and Houston Baptist out of the FCS ranks. Not much. They've been just crushed the last several weeks. Lose by 28 to Air Force, 24 San Diego State. I don't love the idea of laying double digits with this team and this head coach, but I'd certainly do that before I take New Mexico right now. But I'm passing on this game. We got Conor Mac with us again, Colorado State, New Mexico here.
Pass. I lean under even at this total. New Mexico just can't score.
Yep.
I mean, this team 0, 13, 10, 7 the last 4. I see more of against Colorado State not doing anything, just under here.
All right, big Ragoo.
Yeah, it's a pass for me. I don't see a lot of offense coming either way here, but I would, if you had to put a gun in my head, I would lean Colorado State, the Rams.
All right, boss.
Oh, well, I would definitely want to take Colorado State in this one. New Mexico just can't get it together on offense. Colorado State peaks in the sacks. They put a lot of pressure on the quarterback, so they would definitely give New Mexico some trouble today. If it's any team that's improving in the Mountain West, it's definitely Colorado State, and it's on both sides of the ball, on defense and on offense. So can they cover that spread? Absolutely. But if I put my money on it and bet it, I guarantee they lose. So I'm going to pass, but I tell y'all, go get your money with Colorado State. But I make sure I don't touch it so I don't mess nothing up for y'all.
There's always those teams for everybody that whenever you bet them, they don't come through for you. But when you don't bet them, that's when they get the job done. Yeah, that's always there's always going to be a team or two like that for most bettors in every sport. Liberty Monroe, we've got Liberty 32.5-point road favorites, 57.5 the total. Just a few too many points to want to lay, but I mean, I can't really trust Monroe. Here's another team, UL Monroe, with quarterback injuries. They've been without Rhett Rodriguez for a long period of time, and the Colby Suits and the other guy that's been playing at quarterback, they've just not been very efficient, not very reliable, and you got to score points to keep up with Liberty. I just don't want to lay this many, though, 32.5 on the road. So I would only look to Liberty, but pass for me. Conor Mac.
I'd only lay it with Liberty. There's no way I want Monroe.
All right, Big Ragoo.
She's a pass for me, fellas. 32 points, that's a big number.
There's too many. Yep. Boss.
Man, this is a weird game right here. What is this, an out-of-conference game at the 7th week of the season against these this terrible ULM fade team right here, and this Liberty team that's pretty good, been doing pretty good. But they set it at 32. ATS, they're 5-1. Liberty is, so that means the line setters, they know exactly what Liberty is capable of. A total like 32. That means that we putting it as high as we can without putting it too high. So if you want to lay some wood today, that'd probably be the spot to do it, and go ahead and lay that 32. But I'm not gonna do it.
The biggest margin of victory this year, Liberty, is 28. That's the only pause for concern that I have here. Is that's you're got to lay a mountain of points here in this game to back up Liberty.
That screams back door.
Yeah.
When you see 55-6, you're gonna be like, wow, I should have just went ahead and took it.
Yeah, but have you guys seen Monroe play?
Yeah, it's rough. Defense stinks. The offense is just limited, and Liberty's got the opposite. They got the great Malik Willis offense at quarterback, and very good defense as well. I think Liberty's defense gets underrated, actually. They've got a good defense, too. So it's going to be tough sledding there for Monroe. All right, we've got next up Utah State, UNLV. It is Utah State 7-point road favorite, 64. I'm going to lay it with Utah State. I think there's a bigger difference with these two teams than the odds makers suggest. I mean, Utah State's had some tough, misleading results. The Boise State game, they went up and down the field, turned it over constantly. BYU, they hung in that game for a while against a solid BYU team. This is a step down in class. I like the over, too. The over's taken money all week, 57.5 up to 64. Utah State plays fast. They got two quarterbacks that can play well. Logan Bonner is banged up, but he might play. And even if he doesn't, Andrew Peasley, the backup quarterback, solid for Utah State. Blake Anderson has two quarterbacks that can play well. And UNLV, I think they can put up points. Brumfield, the quarterback, their top quarterback, is questionable. We'll have to see if he plays Brumfield for UNLV, but
he's got to play, yeah.
Nevertheless, I'd still lean over the total because UNLV's defense pretty rough, and Utah State, they play fast. They're good enough on offense. So I like Utah State, like the over as well. Conor Mac, what do you think?
Yeah, if this gets under a touchdown, I kind of like Utah State. UNLV's played better, but one thing, they still haven't covered a number at home here at Allegiant Stadium, and that's why I can't take them here.
All right, Big Ragoo.
Yeah, we were giving UNLV a hard time for how bad they were, but of late they have been playing a little bit better, like Conor says. At home, not so much. They haven't got to the number yet, so I'm going to pass. It's either Utah State or pass.
They have played better now at home. Can they do it is the question. Fresno, UTSA, but again, UTSA and Fresno, those two better performances, down spots for the teams they were playing. They were hangover spots for both Fresno and for UTSA, so I think they took advantage of that a little bit. Boss, what do you think?
Okay, guys, come on, huddle in. This is gonna be an exciting spot right here. Utah State, we know what's going on over there. They're making their way through first-year coach, doing what they do best. But this UNLV team has been improving week after week. They've been shocking opponents. They've been almost up in some games against some good people. They played a really tough UTSA team last week. They're closing the gaps slowly, and guess what? Today the sun shines on the dog's ass. I like UNLV plus the points and on the money line. Might be an upset right here.
All right,
good.
I'm debating right now, should I go to the Allegiant Stadium to watch this game, or should I stay right here and check out Ice Cube later on? I don't know.
Ice Cube. I also think UNLV is going to win all day. Yeah, UNLV, Arroyo, he still hasn't won a football game there. So, I mean, that'd be huge. They need a win desperately.
Let me take your temperature, man. Let me reach my hand.
Let's make sure you're feeling all right. Yeah.
Somebody got to take over at Allegiant Stadium. The Raiders is out of there, and now gives UNLV a chance to shine. I think I got them in the future over 1.5 wins. I need at least one now.
Hell yeah.
There you go. Yep, take advantage of that. Absolutely. So,
but on another note, though, UNLV they have a lot of talent. They just haven't been able to focus everything in the right way. They make some awesome plays out there. Like, the talent is definitely there. They just ain't grouped it together to play as one unit, one sound, one band type stuff. But they're on their way. If Arroyo can seat don't heat up before it all come together.
Yeah, hopefully Brumfield plays. He needs to play, full game quarterback.
But the other guys that's there too, they can contribute as well. Just Brumfield is just such an athletic threat, you know what I mean, on the field.
He's still the best.
It gives them better. But I think they got some receivers, they got some running backs, they got some defensive players. UNLV might get off today.
All right, we'll wait and see. And if that does indeed happen, we'll know who to say. Hey, look who called it. Boston.
You got to call one every week. Every week you're gonna get one. So I think the sun is out over here somewhere, and it's gonna shine on their ass.
All right, there you go. The sun's going to shine for Rebels and clear away the darkness. And it's been darkness for a very long time for UNLV football. So we'll see if today's the day it ends. All right, we've got Alabama, Mississippi State. Alabama, 17-point road favorites here. Bounce back for the Tide. Is it 58.5 the total? I think it is. I mean, it's a one-dimensional Mississippi State offense. You can't tell me Nick Saban can't have his team ready to play a team that's going to throw the football all the time. I think there's a good chance they have them ready. I'm going to be on the side of that loss doesn't, throw Alabama totally off, that they can wheel back and play much better here against Mississippi State. This is a team that the last 2 years, 38-7. And then last year, in Mike Leach's first year, 41-0. Alabama pitched the shutout against Mississippi State. I like Alabama first half and full game split here. The old baseball bet for me in this one. First half full game split minus 12. I think now is the first half on Alabama. No, it's minus 10.5 still first half, and then the full game, which is minus 17. I think they do get right today, Alabama. I'm going to give them a pass for last week. Conor Mac, what do you think?
Yeah, Bama struggled 2 true road games in SEC. But I can't get over Saban, how well he is off the loss, the bounce back. I got to go right back to it. Bama first half. I think they get it done.
Yeah, 5-0 straight up and against the spread last 5 games for Alabama off the loss under Nick Saban.
Yeah, I can't get that out of my head.
Decisively. Yeah. Big Ragoo.
Yeah, we get the ship right here, or we get the train back on the tracks, and we keep rolling. We double up like we normally do. First half, full game, Bama. They get it right today.
All right, boss.
Hey, I'm rolling with the crew. First half, Alabama. No other way to do it.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's just it's Will Rogers, those little bubble screens, those little screen passes, short passes. You know what they do with the Mike Leach offense. And that's, that kind of stuff where it's sideline to sideline. You're not going to beat Alabama's defense and that speed that they recruit there with that kind of offense. And it was proven last year. Look at against Mike Leach for the first time. What did Alabama do? They pitched the shutout. So I think it could be a tough day.
It's not a big number either.
Yeah.
It's not a big first half number to get to.
Yeah, exactly. 10.5, something that's doable here for Alabama for sure. No question. All right, next up on the slate here, we've got TCU and Oklahoma. Very good one. This is your ABC Saturday night game. Oklahoma, 13.5-point home favorite, 63.5 the total. So Lincoln Riley playing coy all week long. I'm not naming my quarterback's going to be. Is there anyone that watched the Red River rivalry last week that doesn't think it's going to be Caleb Williams, at quarterback after the way he played last week in that game? I'm sure it's going to be him. He's just trying to make it seem like there's some kind of guessing that we need to do, but it won't be Radler. I think it'll be Caleb Williams. And if it is him, I like the over because I don't trust TCU's defense to stop Oklahoma's offense. Look, I don't want to say unstoppable, but it looked as good as it looked better than it looked all year with him at quarterback. They went up and down the field. It made the run game better. It stretched the field better deep ball than we see from Spencer Rattler. All of those things. And TCU's defense, we keep saying it all year. It's been a defense that people thought would be good, and it hasn't been for TCU this year. But on the other side of the fence, it's going to be interesting. Max Duggan, capable quarterback. He obviously had a big game last week against Texas Tech, but I think he's capable here to make some plays. And Oklahoma's defense might be a little tired on the field a lot last week in the game against Texas. Could see a reverberating effect here. I think Oklahoma could really shred TCU. That's why I'm not taking the points in a potential flat spot after the rivalry game for Oklahoma. But I think I might just stick to points here in the over. What do you think here, Conor Mac? TCU, Oklahoma.
Yeah, I got to take the over. Oklahoma's defense isn't good. TCU's gotten, like you talked about, every game. I mean, it's 32, 42, 34. They'll give that up. Williams is, man, he's got to play. I don't even know how you go back to Rattler unless he comes out and is just horrible. take the over, and I can't lay it with Oklahoma. I know Williams. This team, I'm not going to do it. I got to see it. I can't lay numbers with them yet.
Stand that, Big Ragoo.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that had to be a tough call for. It was the right call for no doubt to put the kid on the bench and then bring in the backup in this spot. So we going forward. I mean, if they don't do that, they're shooting themselves foot. Especially got aspirations to get to the big game stage. And that's what we were wondering. Where the hell is Oklahoma's offense all year? Where have they been? Where have they been? Quarterback change and boom, and at the right time in the right game. But the best bet cash easily for us, for the Texas team total over last week, and then but the money line play went down the tubes, but surprisingly enough. But I think Oklahoma moves forwards here, and then I kind of like them in this spot. In actuality, over. I mean, team total over and full game over for me in this game.
All right, boss.
Hey, too much drama in this game right here. That whole quarterback thing, that's Lincoln Riley playing with Rattler's head, to say that you was my guy, and now I'm debating sending this other guy in against you. And I mean, it works different ways. And one thing, it kind of pumps Rattler up, but then again, if you choose the other guy over that guy, it could beat him up, personally. This is like a college kid, 18, 19, 20-year-old mind manipulation right here. I don't want to be a part of it.
Mind games being played here, says DJ Big Boss. Yeah, it's a tough spot for him to be in because, look, Rattler's had a tough year, and then you see this guy just light it up coming in off the bench against Texas. Hard to say, no, sit back down. We're going to go to Rattler again. Next up, we've got Ole Miss and Tennessee. Ole Miss 1-point road favorites, 82 the total. I'm on the over here. I don't even care that it's 82.
Wow.
Like, these are two of the fastest paced teams in the country. They're going to go up and down. They've got electrifying, quick strike, big play offenses. Not only are they good offenses, they can have 70, 80-yard touchdowns. They're quick strike. Hendon Hooker's been great at quarterback for Tennessee. Heupel's going to be up-tempo. Same with Lane Kiffin. It's going to be a fun game. I mean, I lean Ole Miss, too. I still think – I said they're better than Tennessee coming into the year. I still believe that. At a pick 'em just to win the game, I've got to take Ole Miss. But I like the over even more, 82. Like 42 30 or 45-38 gets you over the total. 45-42. I could see that kind of game. Hell, we saw 50s for both Arkansas and Ole Miss last week. We've seen Tennessee put 60s on the board at times this year. So, yeah, it's a high total, but I think it still clears the total. And I've said this before, the highest totals often go over on the college football board. So I think you'll see that here. What do you think, Conor Mac?
Yeah, high-paced offenses here. Tennessee's been great. I still think Ole Miss is a little bit better. I like Ole Miss here a little bit, -1.
I agree. Big Ragoo.
Yeah, I lean Ole Miss's way just because of probably a little bit better talent, because this is kind of a mishmash of players that they kind of threw together because they had a fire sale once Pruitt got out of town in Knoxville. So this is a play on spot for me for Ole Miss. It's going to be a fun game. That's a huge number, man, 83 points. And it kind of, like you said, it bodes well to the over, because when you get those low totals, they go that way too. So this is indicative of what's going to happen on the field. Watch it be a shit show, 21-20.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, boss, what do you think here?
I wanted to jump on Ole Miss in this game, but after I was running my numbers with Tennessee offense is well-oiled machine right there. So then I wanted to jump on the over, but 82 scared me away, man. You hats off to you for taking that one in. I just can't do it.
Hats off to Heupel figuring that Hendon was his man.
Yeah, that's right. Iowa State, Kansas State. Iowa State 6.5, 7-point road favorites, 50.5 the total. This is an interesting one. Definitely Iowa State's probably the better team. I don't deny that. But, we're talking with an offense that's been a little bit erratic at times this year. It's not always a team you want to trust in this price range. I know they beat up Kansas 59-7, and they have the bye. That's what Matt Campbell, great coach, and they have extra time to prepare for this Kansas State offense that's a little bit limited. So does Kansas State, though. They're also off a bye week, so it's a wash there. But you still look at Kansas State offensively. It's a little bit of a tough offense to trust. Thompson was back at quarterback, gave them a little boost last week for sure, covering against Oklahoma 2 weeks ago in the game before their bye. They've been good at home. I mean, they beat Nevada at home. They covered against Oklahoma. This is where they've often played pretty well this year. Their only non-covers were an FCS team, and then, of course, at Oklahoma State, which was on the road. So the number creeping up to 7. Even though I think Iowa State's got the more well-rounded team and a very good defense, and I worry about Kansas State struggling a bit on offense against that defense, I would still lean to the home dog here with K-State and think it could stay under the total as well. Conor Mac, Iowa State, Kansas State.
Yeah, this is a little bit, I think, revenge for K-State. They got their ass whipped 45-0, I think it was last year, by Iowa State. I'm going to wait. I'm going to see. There's already a 7. I'm going to wait till right. I think there'll be a 7 here. I'm going to take K-State. I know Iowa State off the bye. When they're at home and I can get over that touchdown here, I think this game's close. They want revenge from last year.
All right, Big Ragoo.
Yeah, definitely a buy-on spot for K-State plus 7, especially last year. And Iowa State, what they normally do, they play these tough games in these type of roles on the road. They squeak by, they win, they win. They'll probably maybe squeak by, but I would put Iowa State on upset alert. It's perfect spot play for K-State.
All right, boss.
Oh man, that's so sad. Upset alert, Big Ragoo. I'm high on ISU, man. When I was doing my research, their defense is immaculate. It's up there with Georgia. They're only allowing 144 yards passing in the air. They're only allowing 89 yards on the ground, and they're playing a K-State team that's subpar this year. I mean, they got the number 96 ranked offense, number 44 ranked defense. I think this is a spot for ISU to get loose right here, and probably, both of these teams are off a bye, as a matter of fact. And, judging what we've seen so far, the bye hasn't really took a good effect. I mean, everybody thought off the bye Oregon would do well last night. There's a couple other buys in there this week that and it kind of came out kind of flat. So both of these teams are off a bye, so that's not even a big deal. I think we're getting a good number with under a touchdown with ISU facing the Kansas State team that's 3-2 to the ATS. Whatever rival happened in the back, it happened. But I think just on the field, ISU is better. And also lean under the 50.5 too.
All right, liking the under as well. I agree there for sure. Stanford. Yeah, Stanford and Washington State. We've got Pick'em here in this game, 53 the total. Washington State's actually not shocked me, but they played better lately. I'll give them that.
Playing some defense.
Now. They're playing some defense, 100% right about that. They beat Oregon State, and they won with defense. They shut down Cal 21-6, won with defense. They covered 3 straight coming into this game. So I'm reluctant to go against Washington State. Stanford off the loss to Arizona State. But before that, they beat Oregon. And then before that, they got wiped out by UCLA. And before that, they beat USC. And so they're just one of those tough to bet them week to week because it's one week they're great, one week they're not so good. But I like Tanner McKee at quarterback, and he's played well. And I think I like him enough here to lay off the Washington State side. I think this is a game where we might get both offenses getting it going a little bit. I lean over. The total's gone up already. It's up to 53 from 50.5. Lean over, but just a small opinion there. Conor Mac, what do you think?
Yeah, I take Washington State at home here. I'd like Stanford in certain spots, and I'm going to go right back to the under. Washington State 5-0. You think of this team is over?
Yep.
Go right back to the under here today.
Yep, Big Ragoo.
All about the under in this one, boys. I've never seen so many unders in Pac-12 games.
Yeah.
Pac-10 games, whatever the heck it's called this week. Over the past year or 2 years, it's been really tough to score points in that league, surprisingly enough. But this game bodes well, all under, all over it.
All right, boss.
Hey, I endorse that under too, but staying on the right path with my therapist, I'm gonna leave that late Pac-12 to y'all.
Yeah, you can't make the therapist on it. You're not gonna
I'm trying to do better, man. I'm trying to do better.
All right, we've got next up NC State, Boston College. Really good game here in the ACC. 2 of the better teams, especially 2 of the best teams, because Clemson's not so. Even though Clemson's only lost the 1 game, I mean they've not looked impressive. So these are probably the 2 next best teams in the ACC after Clemson right now. We've got NC State 3-point road favorites in this game. The total sitting at around, it looks like 51 across the board. So I definitely think NC State I favor them a little bit. I lean to them slightly, and I do think I trust Devin Leary, the NC State quarterback, more than I trust Boston College and Dennis Grosel, who's taken over from Phil Jerkovic, who's, of course, injured. But he had 2 interceptions in the game against Clemson, albeit a very good defense. The one thing that concerns me here, both teams are off a bye, so it's a wash there. But Jeff Hafley's a really good coach. And not that Doran isn't, but Jeff Hafley's the kind of coach that I can see him, after a bye week saying, you know what, we're going to get a good game plan going here, and we are really going to show people, what we can do on defense and win this game with our defense, even though I like Riley and the NC State offense a little bit more than Boston College. So it's a tricky game. I do lean NC State, but it's nothing overly substantial for me. Conor Mac, what do you think here?
Same with me. Tricky one here. I lean Boston College and the 3. I just don't trust NC State on the road. I don't think I get to the window here. And I also lean under a bit here to 51.
All right, Big Ragoo.
Yeah, I lean to the under, and I lean NC State here. I think a little bit, a little more talent. I'd say talent-wise, just performance on the field, I should say, because they're both equally talented as far as that goes. But I think on the field, I think NC State's got a little better game right now. So, and then both of them are coming off the buys. I think talent-wise, NC State's a little bit better. So I lean NC State into the under.
All right, boss.
I didn't look too much into this game, man. I mean, the ACC is a shit show this year, so I'm off.
All right, he is off this one. All right, we continue along now. Next up on the slate, it is Army and Wisconsin. Wisconsin 14-point home favorites, 37.5 the total in this game. Yeah, this is tricky because, it's triple option, obviously, with Army. Christian Anderson, Tyler Tyler, they've been going back and forth with those quarterbacks, both of them capable of playing for this Army team running the triple option. It's a bye week for Army. I like that. Extra time after losing to Ball State, which was surprising. They actually outgained Ball State by 10 yards, so turnovers were a factor. They got stuffed in the red zone a couple times. Wisconsin finally covered a number, 24-0 shutout against Illinois last week. We'll see if they can carry that over. The only concern that I really have here going into this game for Army is, can they run the football? Because the strength of that Wisconsin defense is that run defense, and they've been just absolutely suffocating the run defense, Wisconsin. If they can't run it, you're a team that's averaging just 69 pass yards per game, Army. So that is the one concern, but I still am not ready to lay 14 with Wisconsin. I'd still lean Army, but the matchup does concern me. Can that triple option work against Wisconsin's run defense, which has been the best part of that entire team? The offense has been terrible, but the defense, and especially against the run, has been great for Wisconsin. That's been their best element of this football team, even though they've had a disappointing season. Conor Mac, Army, Wisconsin.
Yeah, just talk about running here. Old-time football, total 37. With that total, I mean, I could only take the points. I just can't lay it with Wisconsin. I know their defense is pretty good. Illinois didn't even score, but I'd be on the points. And, man, I can't take the over.
All right, Big Ragoo.
Now, I want to tell you guys early when the numbers like low 40s, high 30s, I go under. But I got to take pause on this one. I think, like you guys were saying, old time smash mouth football run style, offensive line versus defense, triple option. I think we get a pretty low scoring game here, but I think Army, that bodes well for Army to keep it close. I can't see Wisconsin winning by double digits, like high double digits. Nonetheless, you need 3 touchdowns. You need two touchdowns and a field goal basically to cover this number here. So I think Army kind of keeps it close. I think bodes well for Army. I'm on Army in this game.
All right, Army plus, and I lean that way. Boss, what do you think?
I like the Army play too. I think the Bucs playing games again right here with a Wisconsin team. Wisconsin been getting their little followers to come, show up for them and stuff. And it's funny because this Wisconsin team was a team that they thought wasn't going to do well coming at the beginning of the season. So now they see people are shifting over to supporting this Wisconsin team. And they put those numbers up there, makes it look like Wisconsin is that team. And I don't think they're that team at all. And I like Army plus the points.
All right, Army plus the points. All right, next up as we continue along here, we've got Let me just see. Next game. There it is. UCLA, Washington. Washington, 1.5-point home favorites, 55 the total. I'm going to keep this brief. Yes, Washington does have the better defense, I believe, but I still think UCLA position to position talent. Quarterback, certainly they have an edge. Charbonnet running the ball. Dulcich, the tight end. Good receivers. Good O-line. Washington, the one thing about their defensive stats, they've not faced a ton of great offenses so far this year. They're going to be tested here, and I think UCLA still, push comes to shove, they're the better team. I hate this Washington offense. I think it's very, very poor. I think UCLA can get it done here. It's, on the road, sometimes it's tricky to trust this team, but, I like the way they're sort of rounding into for. They've had a couple tough losses, but it was a good workmanlike game last week against Arizona, got the job done. I think they can go into Washington, win. Give me UCLA plus 1.5. What do you think, Conor Mac?
Man, this one, I got nothing here. I don't want to take Washington. I like UCLA. I need more points, but I'd lean under in this game. I think it could stay under the 56.
All right, Big Ragoo.
Yeah, we talk about the unders in the Pacific Coast for sure. Washington is a team that keeps disappointing offensively. We've seen it throughout the year. UCLA, they're a spotty team. They show up, they don't show up. So I don't know. I would. It's short number. That's indicative of what the way the game's going to play out, supposedly. So I would almost have to take the UCLA side because of the disappointment on the Washington side and the spotty play from UCLA. Not a play on, definitely a lean.
All right, boss.
I like UCLA a lot in this one. Washington, their prime bread and butter is on defense is their secondary, and that's going to be useless against a team like UCLA who eats off of running the ball and busted plays. And those busted plays, that kind of throws everything off when you have a great secondary because the quarterback is moving. So I would definitely lean UCLA in this spot. But once again, my therapist says no Pac-12 for you, buddy.
No Pac-12 therapist. That's true. It's an aggravating conference. It was good to me last night, though, with Cal. I was happy to see that one. But you're right. It can be tricky the best of times. All right, we've got Air Force, Boise State. Boise State, 3.5-point home favorites, 52 the total. I definitely have the best of the numbers gone. That's the only problem, but I agree with the move toward Air Force. Boise at home laying points has not been a good proposition for years now. And I do think we've got a situation where with Air Force, that triple option, they've been pretty solid. You could say their schedule hasn't been tough so far, but I'm just not ready to. And that was a fraudulent, misleading game last week against BYU. BYU moved the ball up and down, up and down, up and down, kept turning it over against Boise. I would only look to the points with Air Force. Conor Mac, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with the move too. Still, you got the 3 in the hook. Boise, man, they made great turnover, but yeah, they moved the ball. I think Air Force will. I think this is a close game. I think it's a field goal game.
All right, Big Ragoo.
Yeah, I lean Air Force in the points in this spot. The hook, especially like Conor says, I think it's going to be close.
All right, boss.
Man, I've been waiting for this Air Force team to fall off. I think this is a spot right here where Boise comes to handle business. Boise has a chance now after getting away with that BYU win. They got a chance to make this season a good one, and it starts right here. It starts knocking this Air Force team who poses a threat in the Mountain West because they have a great record right now. Getting this win is be really well for Boise State. I mean, Boise State is improving small. They keep improving each week, but then they have their setbacks each week as well. This Air Force team. I mean, Boise played Air Force plenty of times. They good with the option, whatever they do with it. But the key to Air Force this year has been on 3rd and 9, 3rd and 6, sometimes even on 2nd down. They've been putting the ball in the air and been having a good, And if you see these passes that they do, I don't know how these guys get open. But once again, the tight end Patterson, he's questionable again this week as well. That's one of their big targets. Yep. I think a team like Boise State could shut that pass game down. You shut that pass game down on Air Force, and you got them. I mean, Wyoming, they caught up to the option and shut down the run, but Air Force was still able to get it done in the air. And I think this time It's not going to happen like that messing around with Boise. Boise's another type beast in the Mountain West. Like, they still stand by, everything they stand for. They have the best recruitment in the Mountain West, and they got to go play these grown guys. And, these are the guys that could actually use some of that young talent and beat these grown men. So I like Boise a lot today.
All right, liking Boise here to get the job done. All right, next up, we got 3 games left here. We've got just a few left, 3 games. We got as we continue along. They're all late West Coast games as well. Arizona State, Utah. This is actually a really good one in the Pac-12 tonight, late night. Utah, 1-point home favorites, 51 the total. I'm buying into what they're selling here now all of a sudden with Utah. You look at this team. Obviously they've had some shaky times this year, but I think this is their chance to get on a run. They've had the bye week and they demolished USC first game after the bye last week. I think you're going to see more success here tonight against this Arizona State team, and I like the Sun Devils playing great. Jaden Daniels leading the offense, good ground game, good offensive line receivers, and a very good defense. But it's never easy to win in Utah. They've cleared the air. They had the bye. Charlie Brewer, the cancer on the team, is gone. Cam Rising's been good at quarterback. I think you're going to see Utah at home get the job done here. I like Utah just to win the game. Conor Mac, what do you think?
Me too. I agree with the move right away. Arizona State opened up like -2. Now this is all the way to 1.5. Jaden Daniels 2 years ago was 4 of 18 for 25 yards for Arizona State. They're better, but I still think it's going to be rough. And that Utah team's not the same defensively, but they turned a corner, and I like Cam Rising. It's tough to win in Salt Lake, and everyone's on Arizona State. They're the public team. They're going great. They lose today in Salt Lake, Utah.
Big Ragoo.
Nice. Good work, guys. You say cap to capper. I capped both of you on this one for both regards, and I already had my mind made up going in, but that kind of reinforced it. I think we're going to see points, fellas. I think Utah is going to score at home. I think a little bit leaky on the defensive side, on that side also. So I think we can see points from Arizona State and Utah, but I think Utah comes away with the win. But I'm more on the – I told you Pac-12 unders. This is a game that goes over tonight. I think we see like 60 points.
All right, there you go. Liking the over here with Arizona State and Utah. All right, we're down again to our last couple games now here on the slate. Next up, we've got, as we finish up here, Louisiana Tech, UTEP. Louisiana Tech, 6.5-point road favorites, 56 the total. I like the road favorite, Louisiana Tech. I mean, I know UTEP's improving. Give them credit. Dana Dimmel, Hardison, the quarterback, pretty solid. Good ground game as well, but the defense is still leaky. And you compare Louisiana Tech, look who they played already this year. Mississippi State, NC State, SMU. They've played some really good teams, and UTEP's played almost nobody. And they played Boise State, and they got whipped in that game. I think that's their best opponent this year. I think Louisiana Tech could, just to ask them to win by a touchdown. I know UTEP's making progress, getting better, but I think Louisiana Tech, even on the road, can win by a touchdown, if not more. I like Louisiana Tech. I like the over too. I think Louisiana Tech's been an over team, and I think they're also off a bye, if I'm not mistaken. Skip Holtz's team as well. So I think we'll see points in this game over the 55.5 for the total. And yes, Louisiana Tech is off a bye. They haven't played since that NC State game. I like La Tech. I like the over in this one. Conor Mac, what do you think?
Yes, it's tricky. I love this La Tech team, but always now their favorite. These are spots where they don't seem to get it done, but it is under a touchdown, and they played way better competition. I love what UTEP's done, but they haven't played anybody. And when they played Boise, they got their ass whipped. I lean La Tech here, and I lean over a little bit as well.
Yeah, they played Southern Miss, Old Dominion, and New Mexico in their last 3 games. They haven't played.
They're improving.
All that
They're
good.
playing better.
They are. But I think this is now a step up for UTEP here. What do you think, Big Ragoo?
These one is when you start digging deep into these, breaking these games down. Then you got to look at the quality of opponents that they played. Then that's when it turns like midway through the season. So that's when you got to start getting off teams, getting on teams, vice versa. But this is one of those spots here, guys. And I'm with you on the La Tech side. Under a touchdown. Even though I made some money with UTEP early on, now it's time to maybe jump off that train and go the other way.
All right, boss.
and we're supposed to take Skip Holtz with the money. I mean, with the points in his pocket. That's where he does best, right? It looks as though that would be the best spot right here. It looks as though that's what the betting market has done as well, as the line has came all the way down to 6.5. So I think a team like UTEP, I mean, despite your opponent, sometimes, it creates a certain morale, sets certain standards on your offense and your defense. And I think UTEP at home comes to play and show off to their fans. I like UTEP.
All right, liking UTEP here as the home underdog in this one. And the final game in college football, Hawaii, Nevada. Nevada 14-point home favorites, 61 the total. I think it is Nevada in this spot where they are off the bye here coming into this game, which should be beneficial for them. Actually, it's Hawaii, I should say, that's off the bye. When they beat Fresno State, 11.5-point underdogs, they won that one outright, 27-24. Nevada with a 55-28 win. I mean, this Nevada offense is electrifying. I mean, they've just been outstanding, especially the last couple of weeks. Carson Strong, very, very potent. Very dynamic Nevada offense. I think that's going to be tough on this Hawaii defense. Although Hawaii's defense, remember, it was ripped apart early in the year. They played a little bit better recently, but I think it'll be tested here. Not going to lay this many with Nevada, but I'm going to look toward the over in this game a little bit. I think we'll get some points. Conor Mac, Hawaii, Nevada.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. It's gotten up there, but I'd only lean over here.
All right, Big Ragoo.
I'm going to sit back and have a Mai Tai and watch this one.
Nothing wrong with that. Boss.
Hey, Hawaii is 1-2 on the road. By standard, I don't like taking Hawaii on the mainland, but I don't believe in this Nevada team as everybody else does, but they've been proving me wrong as well. So, really, the only real play would probably be take Nevada, but I got too much respect for Hawaii to take Nevada. I'm going to have to call my boy Michael Vanderbilt, the offensive tackle over there at Hawaii, and see what's really going on. Like, we getting different teams showing up every week.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Hawaii's, had a rough start to the season, and then all of a sudden here they are pulling upsets, and they competed with San Jose State, and then of course they pull the upset against Fresno. Although that was a misleading win over Fresno. I mean, it was just yardage was dominated by Fresno, and Fresno was had turnover issues all game against Hawaii. But you do give Hawaii some credit, but again, they feasted on a lot of mistakes in that win by that Fresno State offense. Great stuff. Big Ragoo, Boss, Conor Mac is always killing it, breaking down the entire card. Nobody does this on a Saturday during college football season except us here at Pub Sports Radio. Nobody, I can guarantee that. You find me evidence of another show doing every single game on a Saturday, and I'll say, okay, you got me, but you're not going to find it. All right, we'll get to best bets in just a second here. Thanks to everyone in the chat for joining us. Hit the like button. Make sure you do that if you haven't already.
Yeah,
best bets in a minute. Time to hear from the sponsors. All right, Southtown 101. When you're in San Antonio, Texas, stop in. Great food, drinks, live music, DJs, and karaoke at Southtown 101. Manscaped promo code PubSports, Lawnmower 4.0, and any Manscaped product. Get 20% off your purchase using the promo code PubSports. And MyBookie.ag, promo code PubSports. Football season underway, NHL underway. NBA starts on Tuesday. And a reminder, NBA Pub Hub right here on this channel starts on Monday, and we're looking forward to getting that going again. Great time of year. MyBookie.ag. Sign up for an account. Get involved with all the sports action ongoing. Bitcoin accepted currency for your deposit as well. MyBookie.ag, promo code PubSports. All right, it is time for best bets to wrap up the show. We'll start with you, Conor Mac. Best bet for today, college football. What do you like?
I'm going with the total. I'm going with two good defenses. Kentucky, Georgia, under 44.5. Best bet.
All right, Kentucky, Georgia, under 44.5. Best bet for Conor Mac. Big Ragoo, what do you got for best bet?
I'm going with a low total too, but I'm not taking the total. I'm taking the side. Give me the Black Knights, Army, plus the number against the Cheeseheads.
Yeah, Army plus 14 against those Packer fans, the Wisconsinites there. Army plus 14 against Wisconsin. Best bet for Big Ragoo. And DJ Big Boss, best bet. What do you got?
Hey, they wouldn't call me DJ if I didn't get the party turned up. So I'm going to go upset alert. UNLV money line. Let's do it.
Money line. There we go. That's the money line as the best bet, not the +7. To hell with that. He's going money line with UNLV plus 240 is what you can get on that. So check that out. UNLV plus 240 against Utah State. Best bet for DJ Big Boss in this one. My best bet for this card is going to be, I'm going to go with Rice and UTSA over 52.5. I like that. 52.5, the best line out there right now. Rice has been trending over, giving up points in bunches, just been so disappointing on the defensive side of the football, and I think UTSA will make them pay for that. On the flip side, though, UTSA's defense is very good. Last couple weeks, though, they haven't been locking it down completely, so I think Rice gets on the board, too. We'll go over the total, 52.5, Rice UTSA for best bet, and that'll wrap up this edition of the Saturday College Football Kickoff Show. Right here on Pub Sports Radio. UFC live stream later today. NFL Pub Hub tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. Eastern. Jimmy the Bag and crew. Sharpie with baseball at 2 p.m. Eastern, breaking down the baseball card. Connor and I are back with Hitting the Books on Monday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. And, of course, NBA Pub Hub premieres Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern as well. So lots on tap this weekend and in the next few days at Pub Sports Radio. For Big Ragoo, DJ Big Boss, Conor Mac, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Saturday. Enjoy the games and good luck. We'll see you again next Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern, same time, for the College Football Kickoff Show right here on Pub Sports Radio.